Yeah, thank you, Myean. Committee on committee, electing a speaker, all I wanted, it was wrong. There is no block named majority block. There is no block named minority block. There is no block that is. Just go back and handle it. Go through your logs. Why don't want to go through your our rules? Why don't go through your laws? Why don't want to go? Why people don't want? Why our people don't want to go by it? They're saying because maybe they could the petition or what fine by the battle speaker they could never talking about any so for that reason because at the meeting they wanted the full account in which he took at the court they wanted for the court to talk about it if the court was going to speak on that full the full thing the speaker talked to the court should look at it and other stuff then so because they never talk they could not talk about it so for that reason we are ready that means they make it no. The book just give a whole write up and they says you go through the write up, you read it from the start to the end, they condemn some actions. So period. Meaning some things that you carry on, it was wrong. Go back and handle it together. Go back and put handle it. See what happened at that place today. See what happened at that place today. No, nobody else. Welcome to those of you just joining us online. Welcome to Closing Argument. I'm still working on the team of panelists, and I see my own big brother, Peabody, is at the back already. So as soon as the team gets set, they will be beginning on. He's already on the back. When I want to happen, nobody else. I said, I was thinking, I said, where is Senator DeLon? All the wars and things they don't want using during George Weah, that what happened now? Gangsters. When we remove George Weah and his gangsters, they want to happen to that place now. They want to happen to that place today. How you call it, Senator? What is so happening to that place today? At the Capitol building, you had police there with platoon. Whether that staff from the Capitol building, they care. It's on whose administration, Senator? So people just see that, but maybe the senator just hated this man. So George Weah, so for that reason, went to just so personal. But they were not happy that all the things you're talking about, the bad warning, all the bad adjective word, what you are describing, what that Myean is what happening now right now. See what happened to that Capitol building. And the Senate need to invite the police, the boss, they need to invite Gregory. The Senate need to do that. They came on a very serious investigation. They need to do that. They need to invite the RG. Can we see people see up there? You can see Zimbabwe, you can see South Africa. Haven't seen the people yet. Those people, in the parliament, the people can right there. They can tell all the people and all that thing. I know. I was just so disappointed that seeing the people going today for ministers and directors going for budget hearing. How will you go sit on that table atmosphere, that table environment? Somebody said they're brave. Brave. So what kind of good, hearing or what is good going to that place? What kind of environment, man? Why can we pause this thing? Yeah. See what happened on that ground, as we call it the political ground. See what happened between these people. Let's get a clear understanding and see what we can find a way forward. Because the more we keep sending people there and that type of tension there, that's the more we keep making the thing big and big. And the common people at the back now, the fear now will grab the country. They were looking at the weather just so dark. A very cool, sorrowful weather. You can illustrate that now a good weather for Liberia today. You have people at that place. It was a bloody Monday at that Capitol building. People busting people's head. So why can we pause? It forced for the Omanian to go to that place for we're gonna budget. I saw them today with a high and thing, forcing their way through because it's wrong. Very, very wrong. Why can't we pause these things? Why can't we stop that tension to that place? Oh, that is serious tension at that place. That is serious tension. It is serious tension at that place there. And which drawing the attention of our people internationally, people monitoring their watching Liberia. Again, they're monitoring Liberia. Tension at that place. Then people going there. What the old man going to do to that place there where they fire on their arm and thing? And you make one mistake. That what we saw today, we saw certain group of lawmakers being escorted by police there, escorting certain, escorting the minister directors. That shows that the people in here want to work with, that the people in here get the authority. So you need to put up protection for them. And by all means, the hearing take place. By all means, we not care. A battle. A bad.
Very, very bad.
Said into the viewer, even in over there. But they were worrying about what's happening at that cabinet building. Well, there are people, in the lawmakers, there are people, followed. Oh, yeah. Your children in school, in the worrying about your being out there, you into that type of noise. I was say, all the things that happening today, I was just sitting there and say, where is the senator, the lie? Because all the barber wars in news during that George real time, this is where it fall now. Right, I know today that high hair on his hair, you're just shaking it because it fall him off. When we move, get the word gas, just what happened at that place today. But anyway, folks, welcome again. The closing argument, Peabody is on already. So welcome to the show for those of you who just joining us. This is your number one nighttime program. It's here on Truth FM, Real TV in the closing argument. Uh, Truth FM, we are here in Liberia, Double Road. Many thanks to our production team. It's headed by Myean. So yeah, my name is Ansu. I'll be shortly joined by the rest of all the guys, and yeah, shortly will be joining me, our team of panelists. All these things happening, and you only be thinking about our people there that when the time reaches, they can take their time, they go stay online. No other representing the Kule, I want to say from Bomb County. He was there. He don't even know he functioned as a lawmaker. But he was there now saying in the hands of the police now. We know and they're escorting people now to go for hearing and giving instruction to police. What do you want to do to our country, my people? The money billion your leg. What do you want to do to the country?
Hey, brother. How you doing, Ansu? Yeah, I'm following you, Ansu. I'm following you. You are touching on some stuff here today, Ansu. I'm following you. I'm listening, and all the different things that's happening. Ansu, you were there. You know what's been happening. It's such a shame, though. It's such a shame. It seems like we don't have a government in that country. We don't have control of that country, and that's why we tell you guys, what's happening, what happened today. In fact, but let me welcome everybody. Ansu, thank you. Stay right here, Ansu. You are on it today until the other guests then come forward or the other panelists come. Thank you so much, Ansu, for keeping up the show. But let me begin by telling you guys, we got about a week and a half for Christmas. I want to begin this. Uh, Ansu, you know what time is in Moreover? It's almost what? It's late, and these guys stay in the studio up to 1 o'clock in the morning, and they have to go home and have the family. So our way of giving back, we want to help them, and we put up our Cash App. We just have few people that contributed. We want you guys. In fact, one of our friend from all the way uh, uh, in Holland. Name is Aliyu Kamara. Aliyu was very generous in sending us a small gift of $25 from all the way Holland. In fact, I gotta go pick up the money. I haven't even gone to pick it up. But I mean, from all the way Holland, he was very gracious. He watched the show and want to help the guys and send a small gift of $25. We want you guys to help. We got 1.5 weeks. So what we're gonna do sometime this week, I think Thursday, we're gonna use the first 20, 30 minutes to just ask you. It's a voluntary gift. If you want to do it, 10, 20, $25, 50, 100, anything you want to give to help them. We ask that you please do that. We want to just give them a small Christmas gift. It's not much, it's nothing, but I just something they can go home with and buy food for the family, or just have a meal or something, just in appreciation what they do for us. So we encourage you to do it if you want to. We're going to put our Cash App up soon. The $ TCA 2500 $TCA 2500. We want to just want to encourage you, if you want to give, just donate, and when you do that, just put it in here and let us know. But we really want to help these guys, and we are asking you for your generous contribution. Christmas is a time of sharing, and giving, and I hope we all can do that to help these young people. So we want to encourage you to do that. We're looking forward to a very exciting show tonight. A lot of things happening. I'm sure we're just touching on some of the things that happen at the Capitol building, some of the people that we have called to be part of this that should be helping. They have not done anything really, and I enjoy him even calling Senator Dillon name, who was so much advocate human rights and stuff like that. Look what happened to the Capitol building before it happened. You know, the the speaker, the legitimate speaker, Speaker Kofa, called for restraint from complication. The executive, he said the executive must refrain from complicating this treasonous plot, he warns. Let me just read today. The Front Page Africa is reporting it was very bloody on the Capitol Hill today. Very bloody. To see people who we trust, people who we put our law, who should be the one leading our country, resulting in serious fight, serious bloodshed that have even led to some official getting hurt. Is this the country? Are these the kind of people that we want to lead us in the next few years to come? Are these the kind of people who will make decisions? People ignoring the Supreme Court rules totally. They don't care. Supreme Court have ruled, and you have lawmakers say they don't care what happened. They're still going to force their way through. Is this what we want in Liberia? Where is the executive? Where is President Joe Biden? He has not come out to say or do anything. Now he's getting involved. They're sending the police there to attack lawmaker. This will result into bloodshed. People will die. People will get hurt before the after the police step in. What is the police doing there in the first place? Why is Stonefather calling police to attack other folks? This is totally wrong, folks. This is wrong. And something got to happen. Liberia cannot go back to those days of bloodshed and fighting. This is something raw that is coming back in the face of Liberia, starting from the lawmaker. Now you got an executive intruding into this. I just like to read what happened today at the Capitol building and where the speaker had to come up. Let me just read. They say Honorable Funati Kofa, speaker, has accused government officials of complicating what he called a treasonous plot amid an escalating crisis at the Capitol building. Kofa comments came following a tense clash between police officers and lawmakers on Monday, which had further deepened the political turmoil in Liberia. Speaking to reporters, Speaker Kofa expressed grave concern over the heavy presence of police officers at the Capitol, describing it as a clear indication that certain lawmakers, specifically the so-called absentee majority, were allegedly receiving support from the executive branch in an attempt to undermine the rule of law. It is now abundantly clear that the police are involved in these crises, and it is a grave concern, Kofa said. However, we, the people's representative, will not be intimidated or afraid of those who seek to silence us. The speaker pointed out that the presence of law enforcement at the Capitol only seemed to occur when the so-called majority lawmakers who were who have been absent from several legislative sessions were in attendance. This, Kofa suggested, was troubling sign of collusion between the police and the executive to destabilize the legislative process. This is unfortunate and not what we need for Liberia democracy. The presence of police officers should not be a tool for political maneuvering, Kofa stressed. We call on all parties to step back, respect the rule of law, and adhere to the guidance of the Supreme Court. Kofa also issued a stern warning to the executive branch, charging them to cease any involvement in what he described as treason or plot. I have repeatedly told the executive that the rule of law must prevail, and if they are unsure about the legalities, they should consult the Supreme Court. But I suspect that everyone is aware of the ruling and is choosing to ignore it, he said. The speaker condemned the alleged action of police, claiming they had sides in the conflict by using excessive force against lawmakers around the world. We hear about parliamentary confrontation, but you do not see police officers throwing tear gases or beating lawmakers. Yet in Liberia, this is what we are witnessing, he said. One of Kofa's colleagues, Representative Luther Collins, was reportedly injured during the confrontation, sustaining head injury that required medical treatment. Kofa confirmed that he himself had received threats on his life, which are currently under investigation by the National Security Agency. I'm going to stop there. But my point here is the very security agency that are threatening you, and I mean that should be protecting you, they are providing protection for the other side. Tomalin, welcome and chime in here.
Yes, it's good to be back. I hope everybody having had a nice weekend and so forth. Uh, Ansu, good to see you. I hope all is well at your end. And also welcome to all our viewers. Yes, the situation is, I reached a point where I'm hearing people now, citizens are now calling for citizens to get involved, uh, to get involved and force the lawmakers to respect the Constitution. The Constitution says that the Supreme Court is the highest legal decision, legal body in the country that render judgment on opinions on legal disputes. If we say that, and the Supreme Court came out and said that all what you guys are doing is illegal, you guys are doing performing is illegal, removing the speaker, electing speaker, setting a committee, suspending people are all illegal. You should return to status quo on T. If they don't have a problem with you all want to move the speaker, but to come and say that you guys are moving the speaker and the wrong way, and they're saying you are wrong, and he needs to be given a due process. The Constitution is clear. Everyone who is accused should have a day in court. Should be able to face the accuser and be accorded due process. Because Kofa you are accusing of litany of stuff that you say he engaged in. He said, okay, you guys are right to accuse me, but let me face my accuser. Let me have my day in court. And that's the simple. That's how it works. You go to work. He recused himself as presiding officer. Someone else will reside, and the petition is brought to the floor. You discuss it. The arguments are made, and from there, immediately from there, you take a vote. But apparently, you guys feel that you don't have to vote for the non-votes to remove him. You don't want to try this. You don't want to go through the red process. And by doing all of this, thinking that he will resign on pressure. But like Ben can say, newsflash, he's not going to resign. Kofa is adamant he's not resigning. He must be accorded due process. And all the legal luminaries are speaking that he's right. And the Supreme Court have spoken, and people are speaking. It's about time that people follow the law. But then again, the executive branch of government, headed by President Bwaka, I don't understand. You cannot send your officials to go to to a body that the Supreme Court called the sitting is unconstitutional, and you send them to go and testify before them. Then you're not helping the situation. Everyone knows you are involved, though, but you are making it so glaring that you can't even pretend like you're not involved. And second, and lastly, the Senate, we are watching whether Senator Jombly will accept the NM resolution come from the House, whether they will accept it to concur with them, as it should be done according to the legislative procedure. They come to the Senate, they concur, and submit to the president for approval. We're going to see it. Okay. Even if she's not presiding and the vice president presiding, the vice president should be should not accept it. He cannot accept any bill coming from an unconstitutional body sitting to come and to discuss it. They should reject it. And we should expect President Bwaka to have breaking a silence since Friday. Either say something, issue a statement. When the Supreme Court in the Americas voted to strip down the 50-year law, the abortion law, President Biden spoke. He said, I disagree with the Supreme Court decision, but they are the highest body, the law of the land. So he spoke. He broke his silence. He didn't kept in silence. So it's on President Bwaka is making things hard. And now I heard for the first time people are openly calling for a military takeover. They are calling for the people to join in the streets now and demand a protest. It's not good for the government. And what we're not aware of, don't forget, Ghana just had election on Saturday, and President Mahama won. And just how President Weah started it, the vice president came and conceded right away. He was gracious in defeat. He called the new president-elect, conceded, and then they are moving towards a transition. It so happened in a weekend in Syria. After all the years, 50 years on hold of power, Assad had to escape. He ran from Syria. He's in Russia now on asylum. And things are happening in our region. We have to be very careful. If anybody should cause trouble in that country, we don't have security forces to withstand it. That's what we keep warning. And we are on record to warn that this government is pushing for trouble in that country. If they continue on this path, that country will end up in chaos. And trust me, the man that's coming to America to be next president in the next 42 days, Donald Trump, he's someone who he won't act like the other previous presidents to say he will get involved. He already saying, the man said that America should get out of Syria. They got 900 troops in Syria. He said, now our business, we should get from out of Syria. Imagine that, get out of Syria. Then you say Africa, Liberia. So I don't know what our guys are depending on, but they better get a census. Get to that. They get their acts together because it's getting serious though.
Right, Tomalin, it's getting serious, and Liberian people look up to the leader for guidance, but it appears that Liberians don't have a guidance from the leader.
Well, Lofa, I thought Lofa said you're coming do something today before the show. Then he didn't show up.
Lofa was just here. He went.
But he made some suggestion and then he not following through.
I wish you could share the video. I wish you had a video to show.
What he said he was gonna do.
What happened at the Capitol building?
Yeah, Lofa said he's gonna do it, but
Lofa here right now. I wish we could because it is very bad.
That video was bad though.
The video was bad. It was sad. And then the police is there taking side. Why should the government?
Why these don't look at bodyguards and start to react? and start to attack them too. You know
Yeah,
what
everybody,
happened?
you know, that's the only country where I see the blatant disrespect for the Constitution. I mean, they don't care. They don't care. If the Supreme Court came out with opinion, the president should come out and at least give a remark.
You gonna arrest
You
Susan
know,
Pay? It's the organic law of the land.
of course, the Constitution is. You see, and if they can sit there and disrespect it and say we're not going to go by A, we're going to go out, and then the executive still trying to send people to them, uh, 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 that's wrong. That's wrong. It's totally wrong, and I don't think this should be encouraged. You see, these are the kind of things that bring in serious problem in the country. And then later on, people will say, "Oh, uh, 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 you see, but the president have not even spoken." There's my point to me. You have a president that have not even said a word about what is happening. He's mute. The situation today at the Capitol building. Why should Liberian be seeing this? This is not news. Or to be walking up and down. I mean, you have people coming up and down and acting like there's so much this. I mean,
And
living.
I heard something. They said that they were about to issue sanction today on Liberian, but it says one guy they called Pewee. He wrote to people and told the people not they should suspend the sanction. So only Zimbabwe, Sudan, and another country guy issued a sanction. So Pewee started the sanction today. Oh.
You know, another thing too, this government Benny Power one here. If you read the 21 day, I mean the 11 months rating is very bad for the government. Very bad.
So Pewee wrote the State Department and the Treasury Department not to issue sanction. Wow, Pewee got a power. He read it. People didn't play anything. Oh.
Tomalin, you get a raw propaganda on Pewee. Pewee will respond.
Yeah.
Dr. Peabody, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Though. I just
No, go ahead. I mean, but it's really, really, really sick. It's sick to really see what happened today.
I know Pewee are different man. You got connection at the State Department still, so.
I have just given up in some area for Liberia. If they can go to the highest level to see lawmakers blatantly ignoring.
Oh, yours. Why you put that thing? I was watch it.
If I play what happened today.
So yeah, Dr. Peabody, good to be back on here. Sorry guys, I jumped on earlier, but I had to grab me something. I just munched on something. Guys, just got home. I was a little hungry, so I said let me grab something to chew on before I get on. But based on what you guys were talking about, though, let me just say, I always knew this. I thought about this, and I least expected anything more than what we are experiencing today. But one thing I should say, though, I want to remind all of us, all of those guys in our house, those are individuals who are heavily reliant on government jobs. Okay, they are playing as though they're ignorant. Okay, they're not ignorant. They know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to create this environment where people would think that, okay, the people are afraid there's going to be some kind of chaos, so let us just give up, and then they can continue their corrupt practices, like I said before. And I want to be consistent with my view. Both sides are not in the interest of the people, and that's part of the reason why I see no reason to even speak in either of their interests, because they're not in the interest of the people. Both sides have been just in total disregard for the plights of the people. They have always been just like that. These guys are not stupid to the extent where they will allow any war to come in Liberia. I can tell you this for a fact. All of those guys outside of Liberia, they're flat on their faces. And in Liberia, they only rely on government jobs. That's the only thing. So if they think they're ignorant enough to allow this country to plunge into chaos, yes, we don't want our people to have to go through everything again. Because if they have to go through these things, there are three categories of people who end up as victims. The women, children, and the elderly people. They may end up as much more victims of the situation. But these guys know within themselves they can afford to sit outside of government no more. So I am doubting that they will sit there and be as ignorant as they are behaving to allow something else to happen in the country where our neighbors are looking to move forward, and they are transforming their country while they're sitting and behaving as though they're a bunch of hooligans. I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, let me play the videos that happen. Or probably we might want to allow Pewee to chime in before I play the videos, if that is okay. But I doubt strongly that these guys are that ignorant to allow Liberia to fall back into those days, the dark days that all of us regret and we don't want to have to go back to. They are heavily relying on government jobs, and we know this. So I think they're probably smarter than that. P, were you talking?
Yeah, thank you, so County. I think you're right, Lofa. It's very important, but they are doing things that are all the things they are doing. These are things that are tantamount of creating chaos in the country on the most serious note, and it's terrible. Outside of Liberia, there's zero. You 100% right, my dear brother. But what is unfortunate here is that we need to picture some things. If I would, and let me just say this to the police chief: you're an Ivy League graduate. And the reason why the representation of those Ivy League institutions is for you to keep the rule of law in check. Honor your nose as police chief. The police is playing partisan role. This is dangerous, and we need to be very frank and clear here. The police is playing partisan role. Honor your nose as police chief. The police have already been a terrible police in terms of human rights record in recent time. Honor your nose. And then you're trying to further exacerbate the situation. There has not been the process where the police observe the rule of law. Those things are happening continuously. They are unfolding, right? It's terrible to be a police chief in this time. You struggle for, you beg for this job. You got this job. And not on the basis of you beg. You should be one person that should be beyond reproach, basically on this kind of a line. Exhibit the line of professionalism, or you move on. You got a very good credential, right? So I have one to advise one first and foremost. And Mr. President, the Constitution, Article 50 is clear. It says you shall be, the president is the president, the commander-in-chief, head of government, and head of state, right? All of the executive power of the country is within your powers to sit and allow this kind of a chaotic situation to unfold in the country. Where are you moving to bring some level of sanity to the country is a terrible, terrible scenario. We will need to push to protect the sanity of this country. Now, remember here, if this process continues unabated, we don't sponsor our budget 100%. We have the EU and other international partners need to give us some support. If the folks believe that this is a chaotic country, a very chaotic legislature, that the rule of law have been hampered, trust me, most of them are going to withdraw their support. If those support are withdrawn from our budget system, it will further exacerbate the suffering of the Liberian people, because we as a government alone cannot sustain our budget to them in the tune of $800+ million. We cannot. We have to rely on the European support and other support coming from other institutions, rather bilateral solutions and the rest of that. So it is time that we call this process the Supreme Court issue. We, not lawyers, will go and read what is the definition of ultra-virus, right? We, not lawyers, will even know the meaning of that ultra-virus, right? I was just speaking to one of the senators of the Honorable Liberian Senate, and they're very concerned about the situation. The Senate is saying they're not going to act on nothing coming from those would-be a bunch of hooligans and petty criminals, if I want to put it the way I want to put it now, and that pretending to be majority bloc. The Senate is saying they're not going to act on nothing coming from them. The action today on the part of the police, sanctioned by the Ministry of Justice and the Office of the Liberian President, is clear that the president first said he's not taking side. This is clear that the president is not taking side in this matter. It is terrible. It is undermining democracy. If we will continue to undermine democracy in this kind of weird manner, I think it does not speak well for the country. So we all need to be very mindful here. People that were blocked The first time in many years, I haven't seen this before. Madam Sirleaf was very clear. She didn't want something. She went after it and did what she could as president of the country. Under the reign of former President George Myean Weah, nothing of such unfolded, of such magnitude unfolded at the Liberian legislature. It is wrong. We need to bring this situation to halt. Mr. J. Funanti Kofa is the legitimate speaker of the Republic of Liberia. Until you can have him removed, he is the speaker. Respect the Supreme Court ruling. To not respect the ruling from the august institution like the Honorable Supreme Court, that is tantamount to undermining democracy. Tomorrow you're setting room for other people to get up and do some things that will undermine our country. So I think enough is enough. Hence, otherwise, it's just what I'm going to stop, Mr. President. Mr. Police Director, I just thought to warn you on these kind of things and remind you that, hey, listen, you came from somewhere great. You can still go and survive. You don't have to be the way you behave. You don't have to be the kind of person to run a police that will be very corrupt and violating the rights of the people of Liberia. This is dangerous. And we don't want to continue to set this kind of a dangerous precedent in the history of our country.
Thank you, Pewee.
Thank you, Pewee. You said it to the point. We'd like to welcome Abu. Abu, you've been following the show. Welcome, and you want to chime in what happened today at the Capitol building?
Yeah, that Judah people from Pewee are doing something in the back.
Okay.
Follow.
Okay. So yeah, I think I did my intro. So let me just go ahead and play this video that based on what happened today, just to highlight what transpired today at the Capitol. So, guys, let me know the audio. And for those of you in Radio Land, just to give you a little bit of overview as to what is happening here, this is the calamity you voted for. Police officers are in total disregard for those you voted into office. That includes your lawmakers. They are now using baton to whoop the devil out of the lawmakers that you elected. Okay, police officers now disregard, even though a lot of them are referred to as lawbreakers, but this is in the Capitol, right? Where the police officers are supposed to exhibit some level of tolerance and high professionalism. Unfortunately, they have engaged into what we call barbaric and rebel behavior. So the video we're playing here, a lot of you on following up via the radio, you may not have the opportunity to see it, the visual aspect of it, but you should just listen to the narrative, and hopefully as we analyze it, you will hear for yourself. Part of the victims here, I believe I saw Yeka Koluba and few other representatives, unfortunately, whom I may not be able to identify by names, but they were part of it, and the Liberia National Police were actually using force to prevent them from accessing another portion of the Capitol building. So I'll go ahead and continue to play this, and hopefully we'll try to give you a breakdown of what transpired today. Video courtesy of the Spoon Network. Okay, I'm gonna cut that short, and I'm also gonna play another video here where uh, a journalist he was actually beaten, according to what we heard. I think it was a Spoon journalist as well who was actually beaten by one of the lawmakers. I don't know what is a supporter or however, everybody we in Liberia, everyone just commit themselves to people they refer to as lawmakers. They don't even regard themselves as human, and they just sit there and allow these people to make market of them. So let me play this other video here where they were actually telling us how it all started, and that way you can follow through here. This is where it all started from this morning. Let's give a quick here we go.
We don't know. We now invited the police present here. But they are all here in front of me. They are all here this morning, outside and inside of the Capitol building. So we just want the world to know and President Walker to know this is what's going on. This place is our place. It is not a police station, but the police are taking over.
Okay, the police took over the entire facility. Instead of having lawmakers going to work for you guys, get the job done. Instead, now is much more of a police headquarters where they can simply go out there and behave barbarically without any regard for you, the people who's supposed to be of much more concern. And this is the video where Dixon Sibo is seen being very disrespectful. And let me see if I can get it play out here for you. Now stop at this point. Let me escape it here, and then hopefully we can all chime in. I think we have seen and heard enough. The people, hopefully the folks back home can call and chime in on this conversation and give us the view as to what they make of these guys behaving the way they are behaving, to insult journalists and hopefully, I don't know what it is, but authorize their flogging because they are not in your interest. I don't understand why that should be the case. But again, this is Liberia for us. So let me share this video here quickly.
And let's share it. Then we'll get back in the conversation.
People, hopefully, the folks back home can turn. Somebody play something. Please turn it off, please. Give us the view as to these guys behaving. Turn it off, please. If you're playing something in the back, turn it off. Hopefully, I don't know what it is, but authorized. Guys, if you're listening to another device, please either lower the volume on that. For us, so let me share this video here quickly. And let's share it. Everybody go ahead. Somebody's playing something in the back, and it's literally disturbing what we have going on here. But go ahead.
All right, guys. So this is it. In the first place, okay.
The Peabody,
yeah, you're coming. Hold on one second. You're coming. In the first place, what is the police doing there at the Capitol building? There was nobody fighting among themselves there. There's nobody doing things. What is the police doing there? I think this is a gross insubordination of the law. The police already have a tainted record when it comes to human rights attacking people. There's no way that the police should have been on that Capitol building today, or they should have been to where they were signed. The only person that had the right to call for police backup or anything was going wrong on that Capitol building today was the legitimate speaker. What is shown here is a clear indication that the government is now forcing things, trying to make things happen. The rule of law does not proceed like this. Apparently, people in the government do not understand the interpretation of the Supreme Court. Let them ask for guidance. But today, what they did was totally insubordination, was totally contrary to the laws of Liberia. Those people bend on that hill, the bending section, they will argue, they will do things among themselves. But I've never seen police show up to go and I mean, and it's all about somebody from the other law on the other side giving them money, and then they go in there and say they're protecting them. It's all about that's what they do. Okay, what if somebody would have come up and something worse would have happened there today? I mean, I think it was disgraceful on the part of the police, and unfortunately, that's the country a lot of Liberians found themselves in. Go ahead, Abu.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Good being here. You might be aware a couple of things happened today. Ranging from the Capitol Hill, and some of the good news from the executive. The minister, the NTA restore operations to Buchanan, and some part of the the central region. So far so good. I think we are here to inform the people about some of the things that are unfolding in respect of our side. So it's good being here. Yeah, but quickly before Judah comes in, uh, there is an indisputable fact that the police is there to provide or to protect life and property. So, given the current saga on Capitol Hill, there have been tensions mounting both from the majority bloc and the minority bloc, and Barrow Speaker Ferdinand Cover bloc and the majority bloc headed by General Samuel Koga. As you may be aware, Peabody, there were huge presence of police when the entire saga started. Some of the lawmakers from that bloc were seen preventing a colleagues from conducting section in the John Chimo, May Chimo, I mean. So since then, the guys have raised red flag that they are not secure in going to the May Chimo to conduct session. So yeah, the presence of the police today, I think they were there to provide security for the lawmakers. A couple of staff from the minority bloc were there and they were attempting to interrupt the activities of the other side. So I think the police were there to provide security for the other lawmakers.
So, Dr. Peabody, if you don't
Go
mind,
ahead. Go ahead.
let me just say this. I'm glad that Abu mentioned of the fact that police responsibility is to protect lives and properties. That those are, I mean, those are the key functions. Okay, of any that regard, you will also agree that that facility right there belongs to your lawmakers as they should be referenced. But those lawbreakers were actually brutalized today, regardless of which side of the token they find themselves. Yeke Koluba is your lawmaker. Okay. Why was he not protected today? As you claim, the police are to protect lives and property. Why were
Julius,
those?
Julius, prior to coming on this show, while driving home, I heard that the executive is siding with the majority bloc. But you have not acknowledged that the removal is being orchestrated by folks from the CDC, including the sitting deputy speaker, who is the deputy for operations within the CDC. People who presided over, like people who orchestrated the removal of the speaker are all civilians, and you are not mentioning that. But
Yeah.
instead, accusing the executive of being a master.
Who controls
That's a fair,
the
that's a fair
police
point.
though? I mean, Abu.
That's a fair point. That's a people. Let me respond quickly to my little brother. Okay, that's a fair point. I'm glad that you want to reference those who are part of the entire process. Great, but you know what though? Let me remind you to a couple days ago why it is always in balance to some extent. You remember when Honorable Yeka Koluba came here and stated publicly that you are a beneficiary of the National Port Authority. You are employed at the National Port Authority. The act of accepting funds from a government agency where
Look at
you
me
are not.
Orlandish.
Hold on one second. Hold on one
Look at
second.
me
Hold on one second.
Orlandish.
I am trying to get to that point. Hold on one second. When you're accepting funds from any government agency where you are not gainfully employed, that's an act of corruption. But you openly sat here and allowed that to play out, and you said you would not dispute it, neither would you agree. So when the issue of what is transpiring at the Capitol comes up, you don't expect me to say everything that play. It is upon you to now dispute, debunk, or either buttress my position here. I shouldn't have to say everything. I am a human, and I should play the fair role that I'm supposed to play here, providing to the general public. But I should not have to state everything forbiddenly as it happened. But you, as a young man who was accused, okay, of corruption, as a young man, you accepted that claim and you ran away with it. And up until today, I can say
that you are
employed at the National Port Authority, but you are not actually employed, but you're still getting paid. So that's an act of corruption.
Lofa Julius, I did not come on a show. I come on a show to discuss my occupation. If I am given an opportunity to serve my country, as competent as I am, I will do with due diligence. So the fact that I'm here, I am not here as an employee of the MPA. I'm here as a patriotic Liberian and to state my positions on issues that our people are confronted with in respect of our side, both politically, socially, and you name it. So the essence of our conversation should not be tied to where I work. I was not accused by the representative that I am taking money from the MPA. I was accused by him that I am an employee of the MPA. If I am an employee of the MPA, which in my mind,
and you said you're not,
Chief, I didn't answer the question because Yeke came and he made accusation against a character who served as the managing director of the port. And I double dare him to provide facts to substantiate it to be made. Did he do it? No, he did not do it. So how dare you come on the show and say, I allow Yeke to speak our information that is not true? Instead of me responding, I didn't respond. So I think the essence of our conversation tonight should not be tied to the accusation that Yeke made against my character, which I know Yeke is one of the critics of this government. He will say things to power public sentiment. So for the sake of the conversation, let's go to another topic. I don't think that is.
All right, guys. Yeah. Let's move on. Let's keep it here. Okay. Abu, you are saying that, I want to keep it to the conversation. You are saying that what happened today was orchestrated by people in the CDC? Is that what you're saying?
I just said to you, those who orchestrated the removal of cover was engineered by people from his party. It is an ingrained fight. That's what I said.
So why is the executive recognizing them? Why is the executive recognizing them? Why is the executive sending police now to the Capitol building? Why is the executive now sending there? Why are people, ministers from the executive going there to have meeting with the majority black, knowing that these guys are not illegal? Why are they doing that now?
Peabody, the civil law says where there is quorum, people should carry on business. The people from the executive were issued a communication, and you and I know the legislature is the first branch of government. They are direct representative of the people. So when the people request the presence of that official, they had no choice but to appear, and that's what they did.
Well, I'm not sure about that because this appeared to be a complete undermining by the executive. The Supreme Court ruled. Give me a chance. I give you a chance to talk. I give you a chance to talk. Give me a chance. Give me a chance to talk. Do not,
One at a time.
When you talk, I'll let you complete your conversation. Okay. But the Supreme Court ruled.
You are saying fair request, though.
Apparently, it appeared that the executive had not recognized the ruling of the Supreme Court, or they don't recognize it, or ignoring it. And what we saw happening today was a total insubordination, a violation of the Constitution. But we'd like to move on. We got a lot of people here. We cannot stick on one. We want everybody to come in, everybody that haven't
Guys,
spoken
I have muted everybody
to
just so
chime in.
that we
Yeah.
don't interrupt each other.
So
So
let welcome Robert.
30
Robert's
seconds.
here.
Okay, Peabody, 30 seconds.
Welcome Robert.
And
Welcome
then
Ben, and welcome Professor Kennedy. So let's start with Robert, and then we'll go to Ben, and then Professor Kennedy, and then we go back up.
Thank you. It's great to be on today. It's great to see Professor on. We miss him, and it's great to see everyone else on. Few things I want to talk about. One is the contradiction of the executive branch of government led by Joseph Boakai and his surrogates. And I want the Liberian people to pay key attention of what's happening here. In one sentence, Joseph Boakai's new narrative is that, well, I cannot overstep because I've got to recognize that there are three branches of government, and there's this doctrine of the separation of power. So I cannot overstep, even though we've argued that one can show leadership without necessarily overstepping constitutional boundaries. Just how we can chew gum and walk at the same time. That's a common sense logic. That a serious leader in these moments and under these circumstances, knowing very well how this has the propensity to impact the people's business and impact his own agenda, and how this could potentially impact his reelection politically, will try to show some sort of leadership without necessarily interfering. But in one sentence, they said, well, we can't interfere, we can't intervene, we can't do this. But in another sentence, here we see the police under the watch of the executive branch of government going to Capitol Hill without the authorization of leaders at the Capitol Hill. So is this considered an intervention? Would this be considered an overstep of the doctrine of separation of power as per the Constitution? Or is the executive branch of government doing its due diligence or doing its job? I want you to think about this. There would have been absolutely no way that those guys would have stepped on Capitol Hill without being called. Remember, we've argued here relentlessly that the Supreme Court have basically drawn the line when it comes to how far they can go. At least they have done their part as per the Constitution. Joseph Boakai has said, I can't do anything. I can't even show leadership. Any sign of leadership in this matter will me be overstepping my boundaries legally. So I will just sit there and keep quiet. Yet and still, you see the police on Capitol building. I'm not sure who called them. I'm not sure for what purpose they've gone there. You see what they've done, right? So are they cherry picking when to intervene? Are they cherry picking when to get involved? Or what? I don't get this. Number two, when you see the president agreeing to send top government officials to the so-called majority bloc in any discussion as it relates to the budget and passage of the budget, knowing fully well that the Supreme Court, as explicit as they could have been, have said that the assembling, the sittings, and the actions of those guys has violated not only the Constitution but the rules and regulations of the House of Representatives. It's indicative that this president and this government has surely picked a side. And the side that they've picked is not on the side of the law. I don't know any other action, directly or indirectly, that would signal to Liberians that this president, from the genesis of this ordeal, has been involved in the unconstitutional attempt to remove the speaker. I said it from the beginning. I said you cannot convince me any other way that a removal of this magnitude can happen without the approval stamp of the president of Liberia. Because the president of Liberia is the most powerful man, not only in Liberia, but he has unlimited powers, unlike any other executive in the entire world. That this will happen without his involvement. That this will happen without his consultation. That this will happen without him being briefed about it. It was all a strategy. Because if Joseph Boakai respected the laws, if Joseph Boakai respected the Constitution, if Joseph Boakai seriously respected the hour in his arrest, a flagship policy of his, Joseph Boakai would demand that not his minister of finance or any other senior member appear before the illegal bloc to debate this budget, because they do not have the constitutional and legal power to do so. So I want us to think about this before the other guys come in. What else do we need to understand and come to a realization that this president not only lacked leadership, that this president not only lacked, this is not surprising to me. I've been known this. We saw what happened under his watch as the chairman of the CPP. CPP collapsed. And when everyone was talking about his 30, 42 years of leadership, he did not show wisdom. He did not show that he was the elder in the room. This is no surprise to me when you see Joseph Boakai being muted under such a difficult circumstances, when you watch the illegal act, unconstitutional act taking place, and the president cannot even speak. Lastly, let's not forget that Joseph Boakai is not only president of Liberia. Joseph Boakai is leader of the Unity Party. Over the next few weeks, we will hear all of these narratives that Joseph Boakai must throw wisely. He must be careful how he speaks and address this issue without overstepping his boundary. I want those who are making this argument to think about this question. Has Joseph Boakai met with members of the Unity Party who are lawmakers and are directly involved in this crisis? Has he met with them? Would that be considered overstepping his constitutional boundaries? If Joseph Boakai is considered to meet with his caucus, he can do that as president. He can get his vice president involved as former lawmakers. Has he done any of these things? This, my friend, tells us that not only Joseph Boakai is involved directly, that not only Joseph Boakai has picked a side, and that side is the unconstitutional and illegal side, that Joseph Boakai is a direct influence of what has occurred. And if we are not careful as a country, what you saw happen today, remember, the police is not capacitated. If the Kofa Black decides to have men from the streets come and contest with the police is not capacitated to withstand what we saw today. We must be careful. What you see on Capitol here today could turn and could get worse. We must be careful. If we don't take action as Liberians, if we don't stand up as Liberians to say enough is enough and demand leadership from our sides, what you see happen today could be worse. Thank you.
All right. Let's move on.
Robert, if I can just
talk. Go ahead.
I want to say something really quick.
Professor Kennedy got to come on. Lofa, let's go to the other guys.
Okay.
Let's Professor Kennedy. Let's go in.
I just wanted to say if we can just be concise so that other can chime in, because the folks are asking to chime in. Let's be concise with your inputs so that we can give the phone line to the folks to contribute as well.
We're not going to the phone line, Lofa, right now. Let's continue.
No, not right now. I'm saying so we could give them the opportunity to chime in later.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. First of all, I don't even know where to start, because sometimes you say Mr. Bwaga, he's older and a traditional man. So let's look at it from the traditional aspect. Someone went to visit you, and while the person were at your house, the person's house caught on fire. This is the scenario of him, this president and this speaker going to a room, and the speaker had a problem. Common courtesy you will be concerned because this person came to visit you, this person, and you travel, you went somewhere, and then something happened. But I mean, the man is behaving like he's not even aware of those simple manners. And to know that you and your friend went somewhere and something happened and you're not concerned, that just shows how disconnected this man is. The issue about the police on the Capitol building is so frustrating. Most of the people who are supporting the other side have always said this is a political issue, which of course some of us said no, this is not political. But for the sake of this discussion, let's agree that this is a political issue. Now, why are you bringing the police in? Let them do it politically. Let the lawmakers argue. I have seen lawmakers all over the world throw chairs at one another. What are the police doing there? And I want to tell the other lawmakers on the other side, now that the other side have the police, you have to come tomorrow and bring other people with you to defend you. The president wants this thing, and this thing would not settle by just simple, it's not going to settle peacefully. It's going to get really bad before it gets better. And since the president wants it to go that way, you have to give him what he wants. And let's see whose government is this. Because if you love this government, if this is your government, you will not be praying for this kind of chaos. But one reason why people want to fight in their own homes is because there's nothing there. You know, when you go into into your friend's house and the Mexican man come left fight. The reason why he wants to fight in his house, he ain't got nothing in the house. So there's nothing there for to be destroyed. Joseph Parker know that he have done nothing. So right now, we're trying to create this chaos and then blame it on this issue. I will rest there for now.
Professor Kennedy, once again, good to have you back, Professor.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me here, Henry. Doc, I want to say, and hello to all the other panelists. Look, what's happening right now in Liberia, whether you supported President Boycott in the elections, you didn't support him, what's happening right now is affecting everybody in the country, no matter who you are. And it's something where the president really needs to show leadership, right? Because the talk about this thing has been happening. It came out initially in March, I think, in the Analyst newspaper, when there was accusations that the president was paying bribes for people to try to unseat the speaker. And then it came out again in October when lawmakers were openly admitting, some lawmakers were openly admitting that we're receiving up to maybe $15,000 or so to unseat the speaker. Where in the world can someone openly commit to a crime and the Minister of Justice does not step in and bring charges against these people? So what is happening in Liberia is a total absence of the rule of law. And this is the reason why in November, you have one of the most reputable magazines out there, or a polling company out there, Jallah, that came out and said Liberia is ranked third from the bottom in terms of places where people feel safe. This thing is going to really, really hurt Liberians as a whole. The people who are fighting in there, they're doing so for their own self-interest. They're not doing so for the Liberian people. Let's get that straight, first of all. And the president is showing a lack of leadership because Nelson Mandela said the thing that is killing Africa is we have leaders who are not real leaders. So President Boyka could really put this whole thing to bed. He could really step up. I know people can say, oh, this is all being led by CDC. But if you're saying that, then you're suggesting that CDC actually runs the country and you're passing the buck to another political party that is not even in power. So President Boyka needs to step up and show leadership, because here's what's happening. And I will say this to close. When you set this level of precedent, meaning when you start doing something like this, people will feel emboldened to take it to another level. This may lead to someone now probably trying to start some impeachment to eventually remove the president. Because if they succeed in doing the small thing, it's like somebody who eventually turned out to be a kleptomaniac. They start with small stealing. If they don't get caught and chastised, it will expand to something bigger. There's a reason why the poorest country in the Northern Hemisphere is Haiti. Because we saw this fiasco going on in Haiti for years. You know, Papa Doc, the Duvaliers, and all that, they did the same nonsense for years. And eventually you have gangs running Haiti. So when you have this kind of situation, it will build up. Look, Liberia people may not like Liberia prior to the coup d'etat, but after the coup happened, everyone thought it was going to bring about change, but nothing changed. But the problem with Liberia is when something like this happens, the people remain silent. When the president of South Korea started that nonsense about instituting martial law, what happened? Immediately the South Koreans took to the street. They went up against the president, they locked down the capital, and immediately he pulled that nonsense off the table. And now people are calling to impeach him. So we have to say, look, you know something? This thing is not about the legislators. Let Liberians get united. If Liberians want to get united and protest in front of that capital for the lawmakers to go back to work, the people are far more than the lawmakers, but the people never stand up and fight for themselves. You know, as soon as they start protesting, people say, oh, we don't want war, we don't want war. But the people they are creating the environment to make you need to go out there and protest. Because the whole year has been total chaos in this administration. It's sad to say, but President Boyka came in from the inaugural address where he almost fainted and he couldn't finish his inaugural address. So all this fiasco going on the entire year, we haven't seen true leadership from this administration. And it just shows that not all experiences are actually a good experience, right? It just totally shows. So United Party has been a complete fiasco in the first year. It's been an administration of a total chaos. And I think whether you support President Boyka, you need to give advice to your people and tell him, so look, listen, Mr. President, you're getting some bad advice in there. The issues that people supported you for, like war crimes court, like asset recovery, all those issues have been brushed under the rug, and the country has now been locked down for the past 3 months over this fiasco. Take some leadership. So I'll swing it back to you, Doc.
Okay, Professor, before Sylvester coming, and then we'll go to Abu. You know, exactly what you said, Professor. It appears that President Boyka just has given up. He does not have leadership. And, you know, as I was talking to somebody this morning, no attack on the president, but, I mean, age plays a significant part of our day-to-day function. You know, it plays a significant role. And apparently, the president is just not strong and healthy in mind and body to really take on this tax that were given to him by the Liberian people. And it's very, very bad. But Sylvester comment.
Yes. Again, let me say equivalent to all of the great comments here. And to some, 100% I agree with you, Professor Kennedy. But yes, what I would say about the Liberian people process. And if you say we have a panache in our country, when the snake bites you for the first time, whenever you see the tip of a laser, you're going to run. The folks in the country, they really want to do these things, but they believe they went through a very tumultuous civil crisis. They believe that an act to come out and demonstrate in the kind of manner to call for change, they may push us into a civil war. Those that spend a lot of time in the country like we did, we went to eat this pan cabbage, pakana, seeing people being killed, beheaded, and in the way and manner. Trust me, you have to speak, Professor Kennedy told 88 to 90% of Liberians. That's part of the reason they don't want to do these things. That's part of the reason they want to restrain their kids from joining some protestation and the rest of that. But let me say to those folks that if they try to believe this kind of a thing will always happen to the people, one of the folks will just get tired. There will be some major segmentship shift in that country that are going to call for some massive change. But the reason why the Liberian people are reluctant to do this time around is because they try to recall any issue that would destabilize the country. It's because of the destabilization process of the country that they fear doing it. They are not cowards. They're not peculiar in nature, as people say. Liberians are just peculiar set of elements and the rest of that. No, it's not because of those peculiar attitude of nature or big city gullible. No, it's not an issue of gullibility. It's the process that they reflect that they went through very dangerous time in the past for almost total 14 years. Because when from 1989 to 1997, after that, a process erupted. World War I, World War II, World War III, the Laurel crashes. It came also 14 years, we bundle everything. So it's because of that. But I think the people are getting fed up of this nonsense the folks are doing today to allow the people to vote for you. You have folks moving around, going about their daily regal, then bunch of nincompoops sit there at the level of the legislature and doing nonsense to the people. This is utterly unacceptable. And it is time that we move through this process. No one's going to come call on the president to do this. No leader will want to see these things happen on your nose. This is tantamount of breakdown of law and order. On a serious note, nobody going to say this to you, Mr. President. I wouldn't even dare see this thing happen on my nose as president of a country. I would intervene and ensure that this nonsense come to halt. It's the process of separation of power. I mean, we just have to stop this process and protect the sanity of our country democracy, because the process has been completely, very deeply polarized, and due to this kind of a level of insanity that is unfolding at the level of the Capitol building, and people are saying now the speaker is alleging that people want to kill him. Now, who am I to deny that, to not believe what the speaker is saying? Because what unfolded today is possible that people want to get out against the speaker and do this. So, Mr. President, to save this process and to save the country moving forward, to bring integrity and that, people coming start very soon. I won't be surprised before I can end here. The United States government or the EU, I wouldn't be surprised to push trial advisory out very soon to their people. With this kind of activity unfolding, I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen in the not too distant future, 72 hours to a week period. I wouldn't be surprised. If that is happening, then potential investors, not we Liberians, our country will always go back home. All Liberians will come back, but potential investor now that was scared anyway. They should worry. And then great leader. And then leader that want to push development. No, it's not that. So, Mr. Finance Minister, I heard you the last time saying that other things going to come. If that's the way you guys going to continue, trust me, you're going to scare investors away from that country. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvester. Welcome, Sarah. We'll go to Abu, and then we'll go to Lofa, and then we'll come to Sarah. Guys. We can hear you, though.
Abu, you muted, I think.
You're muted, bro.
Yeah, Julius meted me.
Hey.
So like I said, yes, doing my previous section.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna re-emphasize on what I said earlier. Those that were not here, so they can be acquainted with what I said. This president will not interfere with the internal wrangling that exists between legislator and the legislature. The legislature is a separate branch of government that runs our own affairs. So for anybody to think that this president will interfere, violating the Constitution, where he does not have jurisdiction over the legislature, and he will violate the Constitution to interfere one of the sides to compromise whatever question they have, I think that person should be living in Ethiopia. But quickly, the removal of Funati, those are orchestrating the removal of Funati, are his own partisans. These are people who believe that Funati has not served since the inception of his leadership as speaker. These are people who believe that Funati have now uphold what a true leader should exhibit. That is to say, there were people who accompanied Funati to the US. That are some of the crimes that these guys have raised. There were people who accompanied him to the US that shouldn't have accompanied him. That is one of our points. That is one of our agitations. That those who accompany him shouldn't have accompanied him. So in this light, if you were to put aside sentiment, you will realize that these guys who wanted to remove him, who succeeded in removing him, have their issues are germane. Their issues are germane. They ruled. There were legal luminaries who went back and forth. that the ruling did not favor anybody. So for anybody to come here and basically inform the people of Liberia that the ruling favor for Nandi, I think that's being disingenuous. The ruling did not favor anybody. The bigger luminaries were seen on public radios said that the ruling did not favor Funati, nor the country Funati group. So for somebody to come and sit there and say the ruling favor Funati, that's being disingenuous. And we should not be doing this. The essence of the platform is to inform the people about happenings across the country. That's why your Elano will party Z or party A. The essence of our being here is to educate the people, and the people deserve the facts, not perception.
Okay, before we go to Lofa, what do you mean by the speaker came with some people that should have not come with him? What do you mean by that?
That's
great question, Peabody. Great question.
That's a point. Anti-Funati folks have raised. Anti-Funati folks have raised. He said the immunity.
Who are some of those people?
Yes, can you name some of them for us?
Come again, Pewee.
Can you name some of the folks that came with him to the U.S. that were part of his entourage?
The level charges. There are many, but I don't mind. There are many. The folks are many. There are many.
All right, I'm not going to go back and forth. I will give my point later. Not go to Lofa. I'm not going to go back.
So, and I'm glad that people are now gravitating towards my position earlier. Let the people stand up and kick out all of those clowns that are pretending to be representatives. They're not in the interest of the people. Neither side represents the people's interests. And I'm glad that Professor Larry also highlighted that, the people need to stand up. And in standing up, it should not be in the interest of one side, because neither side represents the people's interest. I said this before, and from the genesis of this conversation, people thought that, oh, no, the rule of law. These people don't care about the rule of law. Listen to my young brother Abu on here talking about people who actually travel along with the speaker, and that's what upset other people to carry on what they carry on. Why did they not get upset about the supplementary payroll list, where people who are not employed, the names are listed, and they're getting paid every month? Why were they not upset about that? Why did they not get upset about the fact that hospitals are not being allotted funds enough to provide quality health care? Why did they not get upset about that and ask for the speaker's resignation? Why did they not get upset about all of the disregard for the rule of law? Why did they not get upset and ask that the speaker act accordingly when President Boycott, in his right mind, who's supposed to be a man with so much wisdom and experience, thought to, just disregard the rule of law, brought in yellow machine, and nothing was done about that? Why did they not get upset? They are the representation of the people. Why is it that all of the concerns of the military wives, okay, all of the things they mentioned, they protested, and up until today's date, nothing has been done about it? Why did they not get upset to ask that the speaker act accordingly? Why are they not upset that they are taking all of these funds that shouldn't be given to them? They are taking all of this. We are wastefully paying all of these guys for doing nothing. Why did they not get upset and ask for salary reduction and ask that the speaker act accordingly? You know why? Because they're not in the interest of the people. And I'm not here to defend any side. What President Boycott have done, what he has exhibited, is lack of leadership. And I'm not surprised. To be honest with you, I said this time without number that President Boycott lacked the ability to lead Liberia. President Boycott lacked the ability to unite Liberia. President Boycott is far from what we consider true leader. Leadership is not an overnight activity, but you must understand what you need to do. Going forward, I'll say and stop on this note, Liberians need to stand up. They need to act accordingly. They need to hold these hooligans accountable for the day-to-day disregard for the law. Thank you.
Sarah, welcome. Let's go to Sarah. Sarah, you following the conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me, and I want to say hi to everyone. To tell you the truth, when I saw the videos coming out of our country today, it just really.
Hi, Asura. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, hey,
So when I saw the videos coming out of our country today, it really kind of saddens my heart. I don't know, moving forward, what our people going to do, because the our LJ speaker is determined, along with the executive, to do what they're doing instead of following the rule of law. So, like all of you said, I think the Liberian people really need to stand up. The Liberian people need to stand up. They need to stand up for the rule of law. They need to stand up. If the RLJ speaker is determined to be speaker, all of them need to follow the law. The Supreme Court ruling was very clear. Don't sit here and lie talking about, say, oh, the legal luminary said this and that. No, the legal luminary did not say anything like that. The ruling was clear. The ruling was clear that the setting of the RLJ speaker and the rest of the other people is antivirus or antivirus, whatever the term is. So if you know the definition of that, you should know that their setting is wrong. And they need to go back. If they want to remove the speaker, follow the law. Nobody here arguing how Kofa did this, Kofa didn't do that. Nobody said Kofa is perfect here. We are saying that if they want to do that, let them follow the law. We are tired of lawlessness. Our country is draining in lawlessness. We're tired of it. And their United Battle government came to power, telling us that one of their mantra is a rule of law, the arrest agenda. One of them is rule of law. And since they've come in power, we have not seen anything like that. This is ridiculous. And I hope that the embassy, because I know if it was we are government, but now the embassy is putting up a release. So I hope the embassy and the U.S. government, that we all know is a protector of democracy and the rule of law, we put up a statement with regards to what the Supreme Court said and help to make sure that these people go back to work.
I'm sure the embassy is following. Professor Kennedy, I want to ask you this question. I'm sure the embassy is following, but let me say this to Abu. Abu, hold on. No, you're not a guest. Everybody that panelists, give people a chance to talk. Yeah, okay. But yeah, is it?
Stop interrupting Abu.
Professor Kennedy, Abu, you couldn't name who the speaker brought. You named Manipaka Doma. Manipaka Doma, as I check on the speaker website, if you check it, he's in charge of media communication. So I don't know what you're talking about, who the speaker brought and stuff like that. You know, but Professor Kennedy, I want you to chime in. Why is Liberia of today's World Corruption Day? Why is it that Liberia will not even sanction? Or is it possible that Liberia could be sanctioned? Professor Kennedy, I want you to chime into that.
So, one thing real quick. I think your panelist, Abu, needs to realize that the president is the head of the government. Article 50 of the Constitution makes him the head of the government. And you have 3 branches within that government. So as head of the government, he can show leadership and get involved in anything that puts the people's interest at risk. So to say that the president's not getting involved, that means we're assuming that he's not the head of the government and he lacks the leadership to control the government. In terms of World Sanction Day, here's the thing. The world is changing. And I think that's one of the reasons why Syria fell, because the focus now is going away from some of these. Look, the international community is tired of some of these countries that keep begging for help. Liberia has been through this thing for over 40 years, and they can't seem to get it right. So many African countries. This is why you had economists from Goldman Sachs, Damiza Moya, writing things about dead aid. The former economist from the World Bank, William Easterly, writing things about can Africa survive without aid? The change of administration in America. Donald Trump, he has an America First policy. Y'all know in Donald Trump's first term, he called Africa a shithole country. The second term, he is definitely not going to give a damn about Africa. So Africans need to learn how to govern themselves, how to get things straight. Because if you're relying on people like America to come in and start sanctioning and also start, speaking out about some of these issues, they may do it, but it's not their priority. Donald Trump is America's first priority. We need to get our act straight over in Africa. And the sad thing about it is the term limits for these legislators, it is so long. You can have a joker in there last 2 terms, and it can be almost a whole generation of young people.
Yep.
It's absolutely ridiculous. What makes it so bad? The people who can change it are the people who are in there. So it is kind of hard to envision change happening when the legislator who should bring about the change are the same, like reducing their salaries. I hear my brother Robert talk about it all the time. Lofa, you guys talk about it all the time. Who can who can actually reduce the salaries of these lawmakers? It's the lawmakers through an act, right? Through an actual bill from the House. But they're not going to do it because it doesn't serve their best interest. So Liberians need to get it straight. The next several years with Donald Trump administration, remember now, the first time he came, he tried to cut the State Department. The State Department, you said falls under the State Department. He tried to cut the State Department budget by 30%. When you look at the Liberia budget, that's almost, I think, almost 15, maybe between 10 to 15% of the budget is based on foreign aid, which is total nonsense. We're basing part of the money we're going to be receiving in our budget on the expectations that donor nations will make that money to us, which is sad. The president needs to show leadership. We have everything we need to make that country better. You have an abundance of sun, but still you're not generating enough electricity. You have an abundance of rain. Monrovia is one of the wettest capitals in the world, but still we don't have clean drinking water. Despite all of the resources we have one of the highest maternal mortality rate. More women die by trying to give life to someone else than practically any other place on the planet. The number of children that do not survive to age 5, infant mortality rate is so high. Why? Despite having very good climate for growing food, we have food insecurity. Over 51% of the population in our country is food insecure. It is an absolute disgrace that we keep hiring very poor leaders every 6 years or so, and the country can't go forward. At one time, Liberia was doing far better than China. The poverty rate in China was higher than Liberia today. China has the second largest economy in the world. Why Liberia? Our GDP per capita is around $750 a person. Botswana that came about, gained their independence in 1966, in November of 1966. Botswana is like ranked number 1 when it comes to countries in sub-Saharan Africa with good integrity. Look at Botswana, 58 years old, doing better than a 170-something-year-old country. Why? We keep putting the wrong people in power. When these legislators do nonsense, we're afraid to protest because we say, wow, we're traumatized. But they're traumatizing you right now, and we're not doing anything about it. It's a sad shit, man. It's a sad condition. And this is why people say nations fail, because we have political systems that is not about the people. The political systems about those people who are in there grabbing what they need to make themselves rich. It's a sad condition, man. But Doc, to answer your question, America has an American first policy now, and Liberia needs to get their act together. We can't keep depending on them.
Robert Cumming, what do you think? The police present, Robert, at the place today. Do you think they kind of worrying that the police director needs to be fired, or somebody need to be fired for what we saw today happening at the Capitol?
Well, who fires the police director when he's taking orders from his boss? I mean that I don't see how possible that is. The only person with their
as many allegations about it's actually order from the president.
I will give it to you, and then your time will come.
The only person with the authority to fire Gregory Coleman is the president of Liberia. And I'm sure that you would not have seen the presence of the police at the Capitol without Gregory Coleman's order, and or without the advice of the president or the president.
So do you think that he was aware of it today? Before we go to Jonah. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
You're loud and clear.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I don't think he can be fired without the president's support. But I just wanted to mention a few things. One is when people talk about protests and the fear that Liberians have about protests, I want to remind Liberians that one of the massive protests happened not 30 years ago. It happened June 7th, led by Heron Costa, and the country did not go into any civil crisis. The president at the time, led by George Weah, actually sent a representation to receive the petition of protesters, right? He sent police at the scene to protect those who were protesting. The country did not go into any chaos. And so this whole idea that when people peacefully stand up and protest and demand from their government somehow means we're going into war, I don't buy that. One last point I want to make, even though I can enjoy my brother Lofa, he want everyone to be concise until he's speaking. But Lofa, I disagree with you when you continue to mention that you are not here to defend no side. I don't think you are under obligation to defend any side. But we've been clear from the beginning that our position here is not in defense of Kofa or majority black or minority black. Our position is in defense of the constitution of our country, Liberia. That's our defense. We have called on those folks to follow the law. That's all we said. At the appropriate time when we talk about Kofa's leadership, or we talk about Kofa's inability to do certain things, we can have these conversations, and then you will see the argument of others. But on this note, Kofa is
Robert, you going out?
those folks are going out.
You
Hey,
back?
you got a call coming through. You got
Yeah, he has
me.
asked.
Ignore
he has
that call.
asked those. He has asked those folks to ensure due process as per the law. I think the Constitution, the ruling of the Supreme Court, re-echoed his request, and these guys who have decided to disregard the rule of law have continued to do what they have continued to do. And I think all decent, well-meaning Liberians should stand up to this. Last but not the least, this president have shown leadership even before he was elected. And I'm glad that this is happening in the faces of Liberians because elections do have consequences. And this is one of the consequences of electing Joseph Boakai. Thank you.
Jordan.
Jonah
I
or
hear you.
Sylvester? Okay, go ahead, Jonah.
Okay. So, I will reiterate what Robert said.
You know the stuff. That's just,
No.
I'm just kidding, man. They're trying to pull you out.
Yeah.
Sylvester,
You have more pressure. I'm trying to get you pressure too.
No, I know you are, right, Sylvester.
Go ahead.
I don't understand sometimes when Lofa says, they are all criminals. As if nobody in Liberia understands that all of these guys are criminals. That has been established. And I always said, even criminals who are in prison, they have their rights. When two prisoners in prison fight, they still find justice to see who is wrong. And if you're wrong, they even put you to, they even take you from among the general population and they separate you. The reason why that is done is because even they are in prison, they still have rights. So this issue that all of them are criminals, so we cannot speak for what we see is a clear violation to one's rights. I don't get it. This time I still don't understand it. Because yes, Franti Kufa is a bad guy. But because he's bad, so does that mean that people should come and then take advantage of him? And I said no. And I will argue this anytime, anywhere. Even in as much as I do not like Mr. Boakai. Let's say, for instance, someone came and then says, and then did something terrible to President Boakai. Should I say because I do not support him, I will not defend him? No, that's a lie. I would definitely defend him. So let us stop. These hauling things from one place to another and attack the issue just what it is right now. Right now, what we're talking about, we're not talking about who steals more than the other. We're talking about who is violating the other one's right. And I think it is in those lines that we should all focus. When this is done, there are a lot of other things there that we will talk about. But this issue must stop, and it starts now. Thank you.
Let me just say I listen to Rabba. The politics in Liberia is not as we sit here and discuss it, right? So basically, part of the reason the protest that went on in June, you saw how it ended. The climactic aspect of that protest. Ever since June, there was an attempt to have other protests whatsoever in Liberia. Did that UN result or any positive outcome, and basically. So now the anticipation of that protest was to say bring back money or whatsoever process they organized in June of 2018, and the way certain protests climaxed, the outcome was very chaotic and the rest of that. So the people of that, ever since then, there have been no protests in the country that ever yielded any positive result, if you will. You saw the last protestation that was organized basically in the country. The police have to move in to serve water to kids and even get their food. That's the way that protest ended, basically. So what I was trying to say here is that the process about protestation is not only the people don't want to engage in protestation. And the reason why I've said those kind of protests won't work is that because people are calling for the people to move and institute their constitutional powers by removing this constitutional authority that they funded as per their authority. So in terms of removing the government, that's the reason why I said that protest winning hold. And for sure, to organize protest as the June 7th protest in Liberia, it will be difficult to do those things because at the time, Liberians believe most of those misinformations at the time that were being peddled around by individuals, and most of those that were organizing this protest, and even the person spearheading this protest, was not doing this with the intent of representing the people of Liberia. He was doing it in his own interest. Englishmen will call it self-aggrandizement, right? It's clear. We always say it. Mr. Costa did not move to do these things because he wanted to do it. He did it because he wanted to catapult himself, project himself very high, and position himself in a way that he can negotiate in a way that he will benefit from whatsoever thing that unfolded. So that's what you saw what happened eventually. The COP, we had an independent COP, this and that thing, and the entire thing just disintegrated. And due to that process, it was due to the kind of a way to organize it again. So for protests to be organized, rather, in a way, man, that will spring out in a way that would prompt a seismic shift in the country democracy, that will have to come from the internalization process of the people own will. They will be triggered by the people themselves to move and do those things. And yet that appetite is not there. For that appetite to come back, something has to trigger, certain things have to trigger the folks to do those things. So that's one of the reasons why I said folks are now willing to move into kind of way to engage in a protest that, because they agree, oh man, Kopo is sitting, or my Yesa, or my own dear mother, Oma Bodu, is sitting somewhere to her shop in Monrovia, in the Johnsonville area. She is more comfortable in going to Red Light, getting her goose, bringing it to her shop. Where she is now, anything that would distract that plane, that people believe the protestation to come, somehow would move in and break through those areas and all of things. The ordinary people are now waiting to do that. So to anything that would trigger them, it had to be an extraordinary thing that will move the Liberian people to do it. And it had to be soft-moving, soft-determining situation, not about selfish politicians trying to organize something in their own narrow and personal interest. That's how the protest unfolded at the time. For some of us, we understand it, we analyze it. No, for that, it had to be a combination of a lot of factors, and that would spring off from individuals, folks, instead of one person coming to organize something. At the end of the day, there's a motive behind the issue. So that's what I was talking about, basically. That's the intent of our country politics, and how other folks meander their way through different sides of issues. And we have to be very mindful and how we analyze the process about these things unfolding in the country. I agree. We all have, they're frustrated on the act of our statement. Those are men that are elected by the people of our country. If basically they're elected But the people of our country, what we need to do now is collectively rally around them and call on those people to stop the things that they are involved with and try to do the work of the Liberian people on a more serious note. So that
let me ask a question here. How is this going to end?
For me, if I will answer quickly, I think what's going to now if the chaos continue with the kind of chaotic situation, I think that's what will force us to end this process. If the chaos continue on the capital day, now I'm getting information. I just spoke to one of the assistant Sunday for patrol, the Liberia National Police. He said one of them in the office there. They saying to me that there's a citation from the Liberia National Police now saying beginning tomorrow, and that's what it can look like a ghost town. They're not going to allow only identified individual will be allowed to move around the Capitol building tomorrow. So I don't know what's going to unfold because he listened today to one of the video represented this in Sibo said that tomorrow may be very chaotic or the day after. So if that people quickly, if the chaos continue, today you saw blood by. There's another security guard that was hit. Look like, do you have that video? Where the guy bleeding, right? So yeah, if the chaos continue, trust me, we're going to be reaching somewhere because it will prove that the country is ungovernable. Then there's going to be compared to intervene in this process. Trust me, that's what's going to happen.
Let me step in because I have a meeting coming up.
Go ahead, Professor.
It can end in, I would say, maybe one of four ways or multiple ways, right? It would end if, let's say, the current speaker decides to step down, then it could possibly end. Or if the so-called majority bloc decides to give up, it can also end. Or if the president decides to show some leadership and step in and try to bring this whole thing to an end, also a possibility. If the people also decides to go to the Capitol and protest, also a possibility. Diaspora can say, look, you know something? We send 1.2 billion over to you guys in remittances every year. So tell you what, we're not sending any money in remittances until this whole impasse stops because you guys are wasting the people's time. Because if you're not doing the things that needs to be done to bring foreign investments and you're relying on, it will force some action. 1.2 billion the diaspora sent over to that country last year in remittances. The diaspora said, look, we're going to protest too. We're going to protest by not sending anything to that country right now. You'll see how the people will get pissed off and frustrated when it turns out that this money they're receiving is not coming in because of what the legislators are doing. Somebody will take some action. So people don't move or change unless they're feeling some level of pain. It's just human nature. You know, if you tell somebody something, they're not going to take action on it. But if it is reinforced without some type of a punishment, you know, it's the carrot versus stick, right? If you're hitting somebody with a stick, they will take action. But people will not move unless there's some change. So if the diaspora decides to come together and say, look, you know something? We have one of the largest diaspora out here. We're going to perform a protest over the next 1 or 2 weeks. We're not going to make any remittances to that country unless the legislators go back to work and do the people's work. You watch, something will happen. But I want to say this real quick. No foreign investor is going to come to that country. When we sit down on the banking and investment side and we're looking for countries to invest in, we look to see how secure the country is. Right now, as it stands, Liberia is not secure for any foreign investment. So this year is just going to be a complete wash. This whole year for Boycott was just a complete waste because the CBL reports that's going to come out in the first quarter of next year will show that no foreign investments went to that country. The president will not be able to show how many jobs he created. He will not be able to show any significant achievement in his first year. So this whole year will be a complete wash. So now he has another 5 years to go ahead and fool around with the people's business. So I got to go, man. But yeah,
Professor, always good to have you. I hope you come back. We miss you.
So are you going in order, Peabody, or you just generally allowing everybody?
I'm going in order, Lofa. We just had to create some other opportunity for folks. So but let's go back to Abu. I think I want to give Abu the chance right now.
Am I allowed to speak?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Lofa.
I'm not surprised. Most of the exception being made is induced by personal aggrandizement. The lack of ban, and
Please.
come again.
Ben, let's not do this, man. No.
Most of the exception being made here is induced by personal.
Nobody
The
else.
learner professor who
Ben.
did school. Most of the comments being made here by Ben and the professor that just led the show are induced by personal advertisement. Professor Lara Kennedy earlier on expressed an interest to work in Joseph Boga administration.
That's not true. That's a lie.
It is
That's
an
a
agreement.
lie. Don't say that. Professor Kennedy has a
He wants to
very
be
good
minister
job.
of
He's a
finance.
professor
But
as well. That's not true. Don't that UP propaganda. Don't bring it here,
It's
man.
my
Don't
time
do
to
that.
speak, Chief. It's my time to speak.
Yeah, but don't
This-
bring no kind of UP lie shit.
This
Don't do that.
man expressed an interest in wanting to be minister of finance. We are
That's not
aware.
true. Professor
No,
Kennedy,
it-
listen, he will come back on and say it. He listen, he will come back.
Pete said, yeah, let that Professor Kennedy come and debunk this.
Okay.
I don't.
He was one of the candidates that were, were wanting to be minister of finance. So quickly, the president we know, Joseph Boga, we know, being the head of the government, being the head of the executive, and by our constitution, we have three branches of government, three separate branches of government. The three separate branches of government, all of those branches have our own responsibility. The judiciary is there to interpret law, while the legislature is there to make law, and the executive is there to execute. It is indisputable facts, and nobody can argue that. But quickly, somebody comes here and accuses the president of sponsoring the brutality against minority lawmakers today. I think we have to be clear about things we say here, because there are people who follow in radio land. I remember vividly when the entire saga started, at the time Speaker Kova and the president had gone to Italy on a state function. When a minority black at the time,
That's why
the
they
man-
plotted. That's what the whole plan was.
but people that have to learn now. Have to
Go
learn.
ahead.
People from the minority bloc were seeing preventing a certain deputy speaker from entering in a chamber to conduct session. Is it not a fact? It is a fact. So how dare we see people comes back and see the deputy speaker should go into the same chamber that he was denied? You have to guarantee I got security. And it was against that backdrop today. We have security apparatus going to the grounds of the Capitol building to provide maximum for those who think our left has been threatened. So for somebody to come here and say the president is undermining law, I got the interest of our country, I think that's being unfair. And we should be honest about with our exception we made out there. Because our being here is to the public about happiness across the country. It's not to speak out, it's not to speak out personal aggrandizement, but instead discuss the real issues. And the real issue is the president will not interfere into another branch activity. The president remains committed to upholding rule of law, and that is wherever quorum will be conducted, there where folks from the executive will go. And that's why the law says. The law did not say we should go to a side where there is no quorum. Where there is quorum, there where people will go.
Go ahead, Lofa.
So let me start with Abu, initial statement about Professor Larry's desire to work for the government. In your statement prior, you claimed that you're competent, you're a Liberian citizen, and you're at liberty to serve your country if you can do just what is required of you. What's wrong with Professor Larry? Even if he did, not that I'm agreeing with your position or with the statement you made, even if he did,
But one may say,
why aren't you excited that a competent Liberian, well-versed, is actually volunteering his service to Liberia? Because he's not simply coming to take away, he's giving back. If that is the case, I don't think you should use that as a judgment card to try to censor his view against an incompetent government, a government that shows lack of leadership. What you should do is reach out and see how you all can solicit his support, his professionalism, so that Liberia, that is literally dying, can benefit from his understanding, his knowledge when it comes to the finance as we speak to things. So for you to come out here and think that using that as a trump card to shame him or to shut him up, just make sure that he's censored.
Lofa,
It's shameful.
we got one of the best financial.
I'll allow you to speak. Would you allow me to speak, please?
The man who currently,
Would you allow me to speak?
30 seconds. The man who currently
give me 30, okay, you can have the 30 seconds.
30 seconds. The man who currently steer the affairs of our fiscal policy, our fiscal arm of the government, he's an integrity icon. This man said he's an integrity icon.
Yet and still, you know what? Yet and still, regardless of your understanding of him being an integrity icon, you know what you did? You made him the second option. That tells me that your government don't like people with integrity.
At the time you were saying,
no. You know what people do, Abu? You know what people do? People who understand good governance, they go for the best and the brightest. They don't wait. They don't say, oh, because you are employed here, so we will not consider bringing you on. They actually go after you. That's what good government would do because they understand governance, not simply to provide jobs for people. And I'm not going to use this to go back and forth, but I'm just telling you, if Professor Kennedy...
At the time, God had job.
We're not even going to make that.
Okay. So if Professor Kennedy requested, okay, or he even... Whatever he did, if you're claiming what you're claiming, you should be grateful that he even considered that. Because I can say to you, he's a competent individual, and I will close. Let me address a couple of things here.
My point is,
Abu, no, your point is what you're trying to, what you're insinuating. What you're insinuating. Hold on, let me land. Abu, I could talk over you, but I wouldn't do that. Abu, what you're insinuating here is that he's speaking against the government because he did not get what he wanted. And that is false.
That's what it do.
That is false. That is not truth. And if he's competent enough, he should be considered for that position. Let me close on this. I listened to Benjamin and Robert made mention of the fact that I say I am in no position to even regard any of the two sides. In my profession, we consider things in a much more different way. We look at things from we cut off circle. What you're listening to, or what you're practicing right now, after 170 some more years of existence, we continue to repeat the same thing, the same mistakes over and over. In my profession, you know what we do? We cut off circle, we quarantine, we either recalibrate or re-image. When you have virus in the system, you know what the first thing we do? I tell my techs, I say, tell that person to disconnect that laptop, computer, whatever, from the network so that that virus is on that device itself. Then what we do next, we make sure that either recalibrate or re-image the entire system, get rid of it, and put something new on there. That way we're starting over. The people that you continuously try to make it seem as though they are obeying the law, they have no regard for the law. So I am not wasting my time. I'm asking Liberian to wipe them out. Get rid of them. The people
Hold on, just stop. So Lofa, what you just said, listen now, Lofa, what you just said, I listened to what you just said. What you just said,
the two of you guys talking at the same time. You guys want to speak to me?
One
at a time.
You're not many. You got one.
Okay,
one at a time.
I'm speaking. Yes. All right. So Lofa, I heard what you said, and I like your analogy. However, what you just explained is not adaptable to human behavior, because there is no way possible. You don't have no way to remove the entire House of Representatives and replace it by new people. It's not possible. It is not plausible.
But you can hold them all accountable at once.
Lofa,
You just talking like you talk all people. They talking about Maggie.
Hold on. Lofa, anytime Robert spoke, anytime I spoke, the first thing we lay out is to say Franti Kofa is not a good man. There's other people are not good. However, we're not discussing who is better than the other. We're talking about a particular situation here. This is human behavior. You cannot remove the whole
disparaging order for fanatic. Disparaging order for fanatic.
What are you talking about? You were talking about human behavior.
Other people for fanatic.
I will stop. We are talking about human behavior. Then you're comparing it to you removing a laptop from a server. Come on, bro. You can't do that. These are humans. We cannot remove all 73 of them and say, let's bring another new 73. What is the remedy of doing that? Can you provide it? How? We have to find a solution. We're not here to just destroy everything. We have to find a solution. That's all I'm saying. And that's all Robert is saying. Stop, bro.
All right. The professor's back. I would say Abu came out with a major. He said you applied to be finance minister in the
No, let me come in. Peabody.
No.
Let him speak.
Don't do that, Abu. Give him a chance to talk, one at a time. All right.
You come and change the statement now.
All right, let me unmute you. Go ahead.
One of the individuals who earlier expressed an interest in becoming and in wanting to become Minister of Finance. That's what I said.
Look, listen, man. I don't know what you smoked before coming on this show, but let me set you straight, bro. Listen, anyone who take that Minister of Finance job, they're setting themselves up for failure because that whole job is rigged, right? And I'm going to say this. I worked in the financial sector for a little over 25 years. My signing authority at the largest investment bank in the US was almost $1 billion. I managed a team in Bangalore, a couple of places in India, in New York, over in Chicago as well. Your Minister of Finance job is not something that interests me because the system is so rigged. Before anyone actually gets in that position to do anything, you need a strong leader. You need a strong leader that will enforce the rule of law. If you're not enforcing the rule of law, you're going to end up wasting your time. There's no way I'm going to apply for a Minister of Finance job. Why? Because that is, look, listen, let me not go all ramble and ballistic on you because when Lofa mentioned earlier about your whole Freeport thing, you got a little bit defensive, right? But here it is, you're trying to practice the same thing. You don't have your information straight. What I've tried to do is I've tried to help by writing up plans. I've written so many suggestions. Why? Because not only did I practice this stuff for over 25 years, I also teach it. And right now I'm teaching this stuff to thousands of people around the world. So I'm not talking theoretical stuff. So I don't know where you got that nonsense from. It may be because of something you smoked before coming on the show, but I'll tell you right now, bro, I didn't apply for no damn job at the Ministry of Finance. Why? Because I am willing to help. I'm willing to help because I've worked in the sector and I have a ton of knowledge than a lot of the people that have worked in that ministry. When it comes to things like securitization, Liberia right now relies on money from the World Bank. It's absolute nonsense. That strategy has never worked. It will never work. We need to improve our sovereign debt rating so we can be able to borrow money on the sovereign debt market. That nonsense they're doing in Liberia, that play stuff. If you want to get at least 100,000 young people employed, you have to think proactively. You have to be innovative. There is no way I could have survived in a job that I survived in for 25 years on Wall Street if I was in extremely competitive. And look, listen, I came to this country as an orphan. Everything that I came into with this country, I learned from the school system in Liberia. By the time I entered junior high school in New York City in the 9th grade, I already had a vast amount of that knowledge from Liberia. So we have been there. We have a good education system. There are dozens of highly educated Liberians in this country, medical doctors, engineers, software developers. But the mindset that you just exhibited is not going to encourage people to want to go back there to help. So when people are seeing that they have to go and kowtow or kiss the president's boots because they need a job, this is what Lofa was trying to correct you on. You should be pursuing people in the diaspora with the experience, because that's what other countries do. They pursue them to come and say, listen, let's help develop the country. My thing that I tried to do was to volunteer to teach. I would be more than happy to come down there, volunteer to teach. I put together programs to come and teach. I don't need a salary from Liberia, bro. So get it straight, Abu. Don't just come here and make wild allegations. You don't know who I am. You don't know my background. If you don't know, you need to ask somebody.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor. Yeah, I mean, you know, that Liberian style of just frankly saying things about people who know. You're not going to do that. You got to stop that. That's how, I mean, you just make a stir on people that you don't know. You talk about the speaker brought somebody to
the hold the acadasman.
You talk about the speaker. Listen, you talk about bringing somebody that worked as a media consultant. You have the president travel to China. He carried a black money guy with him that was holding Liberian passport. Okay, Poto that's in jail now in Japan. This dude had he traveled with the president to China. He had a diplomatic passport. But you can just make a story on people like that, Abu. That's what you guys do. You don't see somebody, you just bring us something to create it. Professor Kenneth have never applied for a job in Liberia. Like the government had reached out to him many times. Even the previous government reached out to him many times. You see? Go ahead. Show the proof. If I apply for a job, show other letter. We're not going to bring, you know, don't do that. Don't work.
Peabody, you're trying to prove folks who believe that this show is anti-government show. The prof came on this show and said that it appeared like a smoke to come on the show. You diminish words against my character, and you did not correct him. And you want me to
you also lie on him.
You lie on him. Anybody that gets lied on get angry. You lie on him.
You tarnish his reputation.
What you did to him? You tried to tell that's how you guys do to bring people down. I mean, no, that's not anti. It got nothing to do with Barker.
I guess
let's say the fact, but don't make up lies on people.
That you people talking point. That you people talking
point. Lied on him.
This
you people talking point is not going to happen. But tell the Liberian people that
that's not true.
He did.
That's not true. He never applied for a job. You just get a blanket story and bring it out on people.
Speak, man. You have to give me a chance.
See, all this internet you are using that is like Brimpo money. That's why you just stay here for 4, 5, 6 hours. You say that way.
You work at a national port authority that took 100,000 were bribing people to go and remove the speaker when that money could have been used for other people. You did it. You see, when you can said it here.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why.
Don't do that. We love you on the show, but don't bring a lie on people like that.
No, but that's being
don't lie on people.
Sincerity, though, Peabody, to have said that the MPA gave 900,000.
Oh, he did. There are a lot of corruption going on at MPA. He had a luxury party there the other day for his birthday. The APN terminal, they are already done contract and signed agreement with those people like Brempo don't even know.
Are we making an issue about one person? Is that what you're saying?
What?
Are we making an issue about one person?
No, we're not making it about one person. We're just saying the fact here. You see?
That's why you're not stating fact.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, don't come and make a blanket lie on people. That's bad. Don't say that.
You're not
somebody may have sent you that lie. Oh, Larry applied for Professor Kennedy applied for a job. He didn't do that.
He did.
You have never done it. Show the proof.
He did.
No, let's show the proof.
It's not Liberia.
And Ben can't sit on the show telling me that I'm using like brown people money. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's the people money using that. I mean, that's the internet. How are you?
I think Abu want to make that show boring. Let's move on. He wants to.
I gotta move on the show, but Abu, be careful.
I mean, it's so boring.
No, you're making it boring with your lies,
been.
and that's wrong. You
I've
always
been.
sit here and say, "Oh, we're doing, or we have to be honest to our people." If we have to be honest to our people, where is the letter to show that Professor Kennedy applied to your government?
They all lie. They had to lie on people. They had to make a
Where is
lie.
the letter? Where is
You know,
the
like when people are
evidence?
gullible, then everybody
Does
runs
that
it.
say?
Show
Europe,
us the evidence, Abu.
Does
Show
that
us the
say?
evidence.
Does that say you should use demeaning words against me?
You use demeaning word on him by tarnishing his
What is demeaning
reputation.
word?
You don't know.
What is
You
demeaning
tarnish
word?
his reputation with all facts.
How?
With all
When you
facts.
said that he applied to be Minister of Finance.
He did apply.
That's
Okay,
not
what's
true.
what's the
Show the
proof?
proof. Whoever gave you that letter, show the proof. Show the proof.
Okay,
Show the
Let's
listen.
move on, man.
You got it.
Let's move on.
I'm sending you a screenshot.
Yeah, send it to
send a
me.
screenshot.
So Abu, this is exactly what we talk about, right? In the 21st century, we are still living like we are in the I don't know, Stone Age, where when one see reason to contribute to the society. Let me tell you one thing that you're missing here. You just stepped on the possibility of true transformation or success, if one would say, in your government, because this is a government that you're part of. You are trying to serve as that trap for Liberians who sincerely believe that they can contribute to Liberia through transformation. Instead, you going back with this antique idea that you can tarnish people's reputation. That's sad for a young man like you, Abu. As a little brother, I would tell you this, right? Don't do this to yourself. In the not too distant future, there's a thing we call networking. You can network with other Liberians and see yourself somewhere else. Don't use this party trick that a lot of you are accustomed to tarnish people's reputation. Because after politics, we must learn to actually network or live together. What you're doing tonight, if you don't have any evidence to what is stated here tonight, you have just painted yourself black. Because if that is the mentality that most of you young people back home, you run that one way, and that's sad, Abu. You're nice young man. You're smart. You got to go hard for Liberia, but maintain that good heart and just compose yourself. Focus on the issue. Let the conversation be issue driven instead of personal attack. Because when you start like that, you're presenting some level of the.
Yeah, I think Abu, Abu, the thing you sent me, that don't make no sense though. It doesn't make no sense. That's completely nonsense. These are the kind of things you'll carry around.
Yeah. Go ahead.
People need. This stuff you send me doesn't make no sense. It's a complete lie.
Julius, as a proponent of networking, I believe.
No, but Abu, you gotta stop that. Who's saying there's nonsense? It's a lie. There's nothing you send me here. We're not even gonna.
United Party train them to lie.
Yeah, I mean that's complete lie. You say he's sending me a screenshot. This screenshot got nothing in it.
Y'all keep the power on the
Remember that guy?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yep, he said that they are based on that. These are one of the people.
This is not right. That's how you start, because let's be honest here. All right.
Lofa, hello.
Yeah, go ahead, bossman.
Okay. As a proponent of networking, I believe that the future, nobody knows what the future holds.
Right.
So at no time will I jeopardize my relationship with people who are disagreeable politically, nor do I intend to disrespect people who are professionals, who are some of the brightest that our country count on. But I'm a team that Professor Larry Kennedy, one of the trained economists that hail from Liberia, were some of the names that were out there expressing interest in becoming Minister of Finance.
So
allegedly.
Listen,
what is wrong with that?
Listen.
My point is,
guys, let's move on.
To have come here
move on. You know what? You say you have proof. You send me something. What you send me is a complete lie. There's nothing you're saying somebody asked for job. Anything has to do with job. You see how you guys story?
Can you please up? Can you please it up?
Why can't you place it up? You lie here. You say you have proof, and you send me something that got nothing to do with job and nothing. You see, I mean, this is bad, and y'all got to stop this kind of attitude. That's how you go about spoiling people's name. Y'all got to stop it, though. Y'all got to really stop it.
Let's move on, Dr. Peabody. Abu wants to change the topic here. We're not going to do
How
that.
people be lying on people like that? What you saying is a complete. It got nothing to do with
That's
nobody.
the boring.
It got nothing to do with job. It got nothing to do with anything, and that is totally disrespectful to somebody. If you don't know somebody, you don't know him. Don't lie on him like that. That's how you guys go about lying, and other people just follow that gullible culture that we have there. They put follow these lies and lie on people.
Our people are becoming smart. They're not gullible like before.
We will not sit down here for you to spell this kind of lie. These are complete nonsense.
I did send you screenshot.
There's nothing here has to do with somebody asking for job or applying for job. Let me talk to somebody. This thing to me is a complete lie, and I'm not even going to dive into this kind of lie. That's totally unacceptable. I mean, you're a young man. You gotta be careful how people lie and give you lies to do. You gotta be careful. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Abu. You're a young man. You gotta be careful how you make a story.
Yeah, people got zero comprehension problem.
Let me real quick.
Please stop the screenshot. Say
Abu,
I'm not putting a thing because it make no sense. You lie. This is a complete lie you sent here.
Where?
So first of all, I don't think there's anything wrong with a qualified man, and I'm just assuming, right? And I know there's nothing wrong with professor candidate applying for a job. In fact, we do not wait for a competent individual like the professor to even apply. These are folks we should be recruiting. That we are not even going out after our best minds tells you where we are as a country. Look at what's happening on Capitol Hill. When you listen to some of our lawmakers speak, it breaks my heart. And I'm not saying you should be the most educated around town. But when you look at some of our lawmakers, those guys who are determining whether or not we go forward as a country or remain there, when you listen to them speak, it tells you where we are as a country. It almost feels as though those who know better, those who have what it takes, right, academically and practically to get us to where we should get as a country, have abandoned the entire country to those who don't know anything. 99% of the country right now is led by the native people. I'm a native boy as well. I'm a country boy. But these were the same people who continue, as we speak today, continue to blame the downfall of Liberia on the Congo people. This is where we are. So when you see a man like Professor Kennedy, do you know what this man brings to the table? Even if he apply for a job, are we looking at his resume? Have we given him, have we vetted, have we even called him for an interview? You should be happy that a man like Professor Kennedy, even if he attempted to apply, you should be happy that a man of his caliber and his qualities would even be interested. But if the information given to you, Abu, is not true, why even push that kind of narrative on a public radio?
And you're a smart man. You claim to be smart.
I don't think
you can make decisions on your own.
That's what he's paid to do.
Yeah, but what a minute, let me land. I don't think it's fair.
I came from a background where bravo.
Allow me.
Professor Kennedy disparaged others. He disparaged others.
If Professor Kennedy disparaged others, Abu, don't take it upon yourself to intentionally misrepresent your own character. Because
how did he even disparage others?
Kennedy disparaged others, somehow gave you the right to
lie
on him.
He disparaged others.
Right with your own character. Other people are watching.
He's an expert. He's an expert.
Watching.
And you got to make up lies. That's what you guys do.
You can't put your own character, your own reputation, your own credibility on the line because you feel as though Professor Kennedy disparaged others. You can't do that to yourself because people will judge Professor Kennedy for his position and what he says on their show. People will also judge you for what you say on the show as well. So even if you disparage others, should not give you the right to put your own credibility online because people are saying, look, we don't have to agree politically, right? But I should be able to take you seriously when you speak on certain issues. Now, if I feel like you are intentionally disparaging Professor Kennedy because he disparages others, put your own credibility at risk. So as young people, as young professionals, it is incumbent upon us to be careful with what we say, and not only to make political points. We should be careful what we say, because what we say is a reflection of our own characters, it's a reflection of our own credibility, and so it's important for us to always stand out and conduct ourselves accordingly. I have no doubt that Professor Kennedy, he's not perfect. None of us are perfect, but I believe, just given what I know about the man, Professor Kennedy is a man of high morals and high qualities. And again, he brings a lot to the table when it comes to what we need at this current moment to move our country forward. But if you didn't apply for a job, just because you heard it, doesn't mean you should echo that. You should do your due diligence, get the facts before you come on public radio to put that kind of stuff out there, my friend, because it says more about you than it says about Professor Kennedy.
Look, I'm not even going to dwell on that disrespect. That's very bad. I mean, you guys make up lies and just to get attention of people, and that's being our culture very gullible. People run with those kind of lies and stuff like that, and that was totally unacceptable what you did. You don't have no proof that he applied for the job. The Liberian government, you don't have no proof.
That was
totally. He is not pure lie. Professor Kennedy say what I mean. He said exactly what he knows. He's not wrong.
Because people come here and lie.
So, Abu, you're saying that because others came here and lie, you're lying too?
That's not what I'm saying.
That's a justification. Because people come and lie, so you have the right to lie too. No.
I am saying to
can I make some intervention, please?
I am saying to Peabody.
No, y'all will not respond for 2 minutes, please. It's just fair.
I am saying to Peabody, Representative Koruba comes on the show and throw out lies without backing it with substantial facts.
But we ask you.
He says nothing about it.
So you're replicating the same thing.
He says nothing about it. What I said to Professor Kennedy, and I'm going to repeat.
Let a man learn, I beg you, my people.
Yeah, but we're not going to dwell on this.
No, just give him 1 minute.
What I said to Professor Kennedy, for those that were not here, let me repeat what I said. I said there has been speculation.
No.
That you are one of the Kennedys.
No, you're lying.
Did they say speculation?
You didn't say speculation.
Include the word speculation. I can play it. I can rewind.
You did not say speculation.
You said Professor Kennedy is one of those who actually asked or applied for the finance position. You did not mention the word speculation.
You
did not mention the word speculation. If you want me to, I will go. I can play it for you. I can go in it back and play it right now. If you want me, I can do it.
Himself. He said he corrected himself.
Okay.
Yeah, but I will say here that it was very disrespectful to him.
No, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you when you were saying.
I would say that it was very disrespectful to the professor. He have never been in that mood before. That lie was you lied. Professor Kennedy have never been in that mood.
Yeah,
he was very upset and mad about what you said. I think you need.
How does that amount of disrespect, people?
You need to apologize because you do not have any fact. You lie here. You said, "Oh, he was one of those who applied." Now you say it was speculation, and you send me something here, which is another lie that you send me that have nothing to do with job. That have nothing to do with.
To show he was not speculating, that's why he sent you something. Because
there has nothing to do with job on it. There has nothing to do with job. Nothing.
So when you speculate, it means you're not sure. So why would you be sending people at something you knowing that you're not sure of it?
Yeah, he lied. It's complete lie.
I'm
not calling that nonsense. It got nothing to do with job.
You cannot speculate and say something.
No, this is not right. You just want to make a blanket lies on people like that. I will not accept that. I will not.
Let me progress, guys.
Go ahead, Sylvester.
Let me say that John Comber, there's a lay down procedure in terms of people moving off a job and the rest of that. So I thought if people don't speculate on this kind of a thing, especially when it border on people high-end reputation and the rest of that.
Yes.
Right? That is a very professional and well-accomplished person. He's a consummate professional.
Yes.
And I emphasize the word consummate because there will be time we all will disagree to agree, but you give the accolade to those that deserve it. He's a consummate and a very accomplished and well-rounded professional that I don't think we want to be doing this kind of a thing. I don't understand the politics on that when the heat is on and people want to be showing, how to call it, other petty accusation or to believe that you want to hit somebody, but no, that's not the way to do it. Especially there are certain caliber of elements when you're dealing with them, you have to come with high degree of respectability and the rest of that. I understand the weight of how we move to believing issues back home in the country. We go to trivialities and beyond those kind of a thing, and we try. There's a lot of deep nuance into those things, but I think sometimes let disengage or desist from those kind of tendencies that will impute on other people's reputation instead of coming to the substance of the issues, because that's the line of it, right? So sometimes you go to the substance of the issues and don't let the politicians.
Pewee, let me say, my little brother had a misstep. We move forward. It was a misstep. He acknowledged. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
It was a misstep. He misspoke. People
but
probably
the professor
misinformed
said,
him. Let's move on. Let's move on. It's okay.
Did
Abu
the
learned
professor
from his
say-
mistake now.
Did
Let's
the
move
professor
on,
say,
please.
I don't know what Abu smoked with? The professor must have been ready now. What?
Yeah, you never talk
Yeah,
about
you
that.
told me that I smoked.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
you
was
didn't
very
say
good.
so.
I was out there on the phone, so I didn't follow.
Yeah, I heard. I said, you said, I don't know
Yeah.
what you smoked before you came on.
Yeah, he was bad.
I don't.
Yo, that New York came out of him. That New York came out of him real
Raul.
bad.
Yeah, that's how it, right, Raul.
Yeah,
All right, guys.
The professor
That New
said,
York Bronx came out of him.
the professor should anticipate
I don't know
these
what
things.
you've been smoking.
Because
Don't
we
do that.
dealing with a radical corporate, they begin again thin your skin. So your skin not there.
Yeah, but this is not. I don't think it's appropriate. Don't forget. I think he owed the professor. I think he owed the professor an apology. All right, guys. Yeah, move on. We
Come on, leave the man alone. The man best.
We got 30 more minutes, guys. Let's move on. Tomorrow, the guys are going to go back to the Capitol
The
building.
war.
Tomorrow. And I expect more violence. I don't know. Maybe the executive with a 5 or 20-man police will go block the place again for the majority block.
No, we got 4,000 police right now.
You got 4,000 here for the whole country.
They
The
were
whole
saying,
army will come.
the man was saying, they were saying 200.
The NTA has announced the reopening of several crucial routes.
My man, listen.
You don't even got road. You don't even got road.
You are talking about the MTA situation. I will stop this. There's a thing we've been having MTA be moving to Buchanan more than 10 years ago. It's not a new thing you're doing.
That's
MTA be going Buchanan, be going Lofa, be going Garguah, I mean, Banga, Ganta.
But no pauses.
Under the Weir administration, I come in. Under the Weir administration, MTA went Zreju. I come in 1 minute. Under the Weir administration, MTA went as far as Zreju. Zreju. They went Ganta. Then you Buchanan. They
got buses. They got buses now, sir. They got buses.
I think they got 7 buses in the country.
Yeah,
but it's alleviating.
I didn't even got road.
We have more than
$22 road missing. The money missing. 22 million. They say
7 buses. Nothing MTA that I play there football FIFA. They can't charge.
They want to have in the capital building.
I grew up in Sioux Factory, right? We should go play football there way back. Like, it didn't happen there now. So they go practice. Nothing happening, Abu.
Pewee, I think that's been here to.
God, let's go back to the topic tomorrow.
They may try to destroy Oba.
Right? What was come on. We'll take some calls though.
You better come on.
Jallah Peabody, can I say this? I don't want any chaos. I don't want. Can we?
And I should say what was interesting though, Aaron, is you said we had a statement from the suspect.
Somebody need a mute.
We speak
Somebody got a mute
to the judge and to.
For me, I don't want any chaos, Dr. Peabody. But like the professor said earlier, and I agree with him, we are creating an environment for chaos. And but here's what I would say to the speaker. I keep hearing people saying there's 2 speakers in the country. No, there's 1 speaker, as far as I'm concerned. And to Fanati Kofa, he must not resign. Fanati Kofa will not resign. I think if Fanatikofa resigned and gave in to this at this point, I think this will be the beginning of the end to his political career, because I will speak up against him too. I think that Fanatikofa should fight on, because what's going to happen over the next few days will be people who have supported him cautioning him to just resign in the interest of peace and in the interest of the country. No, but we cannot continue this nonsense where when people break the law and people blatantly violate rules and procedures, and we give into them because we want peace. No, they should be held accountable for it. If the speaker must be removed, the speaker must be removed the right way. And the right way is through the law. And so if it left with me, this will continue. Let this continue on. The police have got to be careful. So when you ask the question how this ends, there's only one way this could possibly end. And that way is let those buckers go to the main chambers, put the resolution through plenary, allow the speaker due process. He will recuse himself and let the process play out as per the Constitution and their own rules. This is the only way this should end. Any other way that forces or pressure the speaker to resign, I think will set the wrong precedent. And so, Mr. Speaker, I may not support this speaker. I'm not a big fan of him when it comes to his leadership. I've said it. I don't think he stood up enough. And perhaps had he stood up to this government, he probably would not be in the space he's in right now. But that's a whole different conversation. The speaker must fight on. He is on the right side of the law. We support him. The law supports him. And it must end the right way. We must once and for all bring an end to this unconstitutional, this lawlessness in the country as it relates to people who should be an exemplary of the law. I think this is the only way it ends. He must fight on. And let's see if they have the power to take his vehicles. Let's see if they have the power to take away his security as speaker. Let's see if they have the power to debate the budget, send it to the Senate, and let's see if the Senate will move on with that. I don't think that will happen. Let's see how it happens. But he must fight on to the very, very end. If the country should shut down, let the damn country shut down.
So in my view, Dr. Peabody, this is plain. It's plain and simple. Okay, this is going to end the way those lawbreakers have already designed how they want it to end. This is no direct point. I mentioned this at the very genesis of this whole conversation about what is happening. I told you that this entire deal is the law is so vague, the rules are so vague to the extent that even the Supreme Court is not courageous enough to give us a sense of direction. You will think that, considering that you and I don't see any legal practitioner on here, we can interpret what is written based on our understanding. But that is why in every society you have various professions, right? You have people who serve as lawyers, nurses, doctors, engineers, and so forth. You would expect that in the capacity of the Supreme Court, they would have been clear in their verdict if there was one, or in their opinion, because the Supreme Court only provides opinion, but it would have been clear as to where they stand so that the lawman like myself, who is not an expert at that subject matter, will have an understanding and be able to look at the perpetrators in a specific way. Unfortunately, you know what they did? They left it so vague that you and I will have to sit here going back and forth. And I told you this from the get-go. It was gonna be just as it is today, because those who we expect to play that role of leaders are spineless and they have no desire to lead. Leader must understand this is, unfortunately, we will come right back here at the end of all of this and we will say, well, Liberia must move on. Liberia must progress. And those who find themselves to be perpetrators of, heinous acts or just disregard to the law will end up victorious in its process. So again, I would say to you, it will end up landing in the hands of the bad people or the good people, however they want to term themselves. I'm not going to classify any group as good or bad because, in my view, they are all the same and nothing changed about a single one of them going forward until they change their behavior and work in the interest of the masses. They all are the same. Nothing changed. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyway,
let's
I
go to
have
Sarah.
a different
Sarah.
view.
Okay, Ben, go ahead. Then we'll go to Sarah, and then we'll take some calls and call that day, guys.
So for me, I have a different view of this thing, and I hope my brother Lofa can share my 2 minutes with me. In 33, there is only one group of people that that article is referring to. 33 is referring to the lower number so that they may adjourn every time they meet. The other guys on the other side have argued because they are saying that the speaker was absent, and because he was absent, that's the reason why they made Thomas Farah speaker. If what they're saying is true, so what's about 33 that gives the speaker to adjourn day by day? And we all saw the speaker going there day by day to adjourn. So how can you conclude, all of you, including Lofa, how can you guys conclude that the speaker was absent when 33 says he can adjourn day by day? So how the other people on the other side will count him absent? Can you tell me, Lofa? I rest my case.
I'm giving you the pick. This is not a debate between you and I. Again,
No. I was asking.
I will tell you, Ben. If you want to make this a conversation, because there are others on here, that's why I kept silent.
Yeah, other than talk. But if you want Lofa to answer a question, Lofa can answer his question.
Yeah,
okay.
I had 2 minutes, and I give you
Okay,
one.
okay. I'll answer the question. How is it that one determines whether he's a speaker? What was the question? Reiterate.
No. So the question here is that 33, the article, gives the speaker the right to adjourn every time he goes to section once he does not have the quorum.
Right.
The guys on the side are arguing that the only reason why they made Thomas Farah to be the head over their quorum is because the speaker was considered absent. So I'm asking you, if the speaker was doing what was mandated by him, by the Constitution, to go and then adjourn every day, how does he become absent?
Okay, because you can still utilize the very article or the rule that also requires a quorum. Okay, you're trying to put me in a position where I have to defend the action here, and I try to help people understand this thing here. Here's the thing, Ben. Here is the thing: the quorum that is referenced is the majority block. In the absence of the speaker, regardless of his physical. That's why I didn't want to answer. That's why I sat quietly. If you allow me, again. That's the reason why in his absence, because the majority bloc at the time carried the quorum. They can conduct business where you have the rule that is mentioning, okay, the speaker's ability to adjourn. It clearly states that he can adjourn. But beyond that, does it give him any power other than having to have
the question? How is he absent? If he's working,
Ben, if you are speaking of work, is it your physical presence, your virtual ability to contribute? There are so many ways. Benjamin, you answer your own question since you want to answer the question as compared to give you some kind of sound or logical reasoning. to what is happening here. I'm not a legal practitioner. I'm not going to pretend to be one. Okay? Because there are two different things here. One can play smart and be smart. Okay? But you can actually show where you really stand. I'm telling you, coming from a layman stand or position, where they are viewing and holding him, you can honestly look at it and say, okay, they may have a position, but who is it? Who is actually clothed with the responsibility to adequately interpret what is happening here? It's the Supreme Court or our legal practitioner. If you are to listen to both sides of the token, you will hear some lawyers are saying the majority bloc are correct in their action, and some are also arguing that they are wrong. The only person,
have heard this piece of evidence I just provided. This evidence that I just
let me help you. Let me help you because Lofa is wrong.
I want other guys to comment though. I want others to comment. Yeah, I want other guys to comment because we can.
The Supreme Court said where you are sitting, your actions have violated the Constitution. They are wrong. You can't get any clearer than that. So where else?
Robert. The Supreme Court did not signal a specific group of people. They were very ambiguous in their statement. They were vague. They did not. It is upon us to identify which group. Which
group went outside? Which group went outside the city?
If that is the argument you want to make, that is the argument you want to make. Which group actually stopped? Okay, Robert. Let me ask you a question.
The Supreme Court stated clearly that Article 49. What did they say? That portion of the Supreme Court mentioned 3 articles in the Constitution: 66, 33, and 49. And 49, the reason why you think they're referring to Speaker as the legitimacy, the House of Representatives shall elect once every 6 years.
6 years.
Exactly.
Once every 6 years. Meaning they gave that authority already to the Speaker. You elected him already as a Speaker. He shall be the one presiding officer.
So what is the point of contention? Who's actually refusing to acknowledge the Speaker's ability to play the role? Despite that, the reasoning behind all of this is simple. They are saying that the Speaker carry on certain act that they are in disagreement with. So they decided to assemble somewhere else. So what you, Robert? Here's my point here, right?
You're not calling things short now.
Robert, you said Lofa is wrong, but yet let me help you understand something here. This is where it comes in. The Supreme Court did not identify any specific group. Again, they were very vague in their opinion. They did not say the majority black may have been ruled. They were wrong in the decision. If you want to make that position, Robert, if you want to make that distinction or if you want to make that position statement that the majority black was wrong, remember at one point in time, the minority bloc stopped. Okay, the session. That's when the black COFAs or not COFA, but the other group going into that session. They stopped them. They stopped the so that in itself.
Nobody hearing you guys. You guys just
that was unconstitutional, Robert.
Nobody hear you. You're just talking one person talk at a time.
Yeah, so I agree with you. So let me ask you this question now.
Okay, Ben, they finally went. We'll get the city Ben jump on it.
But who's going on?
Come on, don't ask who brought you on. You let me come on.
All right, let's go to.
Go ahead, Benji.
Let's go to Sarah. Sarah, go ahead.
So I think the only way the whole thing gonna stop. Since I remember when the Supreme Court brought the ruling that very day, I remember I wasn't on the show, but I was following. That you guys had a lawyer on the show who explained the meaning of the Supreme Court ruling. I remember hearing him saying that because the Supreme Court said that these guys were operating, what they were doing is ultra virus. So they needed to come on a COFA in order to have him removed. I remember hearing him say that. But my thing is, I believe that these guys are not going to stop. The only way they're going to stop if the leadership, the executive, takes some action by following the law. And the following the law with me dealing with Kofa because he is the legitimate speaker. But knowing who they are, and because we already know that they're supporting the renegade lawmakers because they want to control the budget and set the stage for 2020. Now we know all these things that are not to do here. We know what the people up to. At the end of the day, they will fail. Y'all will fail, Abu. Y'all will fail. The Liberian people are on the side of the law. I don't care how long it takes. You're not going to get your will. So that's what I'm going to stop for now.
All right.
Even this process quickly. Even this process, we have great lawyers. Even the former president of the Liberia Bar Association, the former president of the Liberia Bar Association stated a couple of days ago, I know yesterday or a couple of days ago, yesterday, that this process that is unfolding, even if the government, what unfolded today at the level of the national legislature, vis-a-vis the House of Representatives, this is tantamount to abrogating the Constitution, and to abrogate the Constitution is also tantamount to treasonable, right? So an attempt for us to just be pulling here and there. For me, I'll be very clear on this process. I have called before for this to happen, but if we are blatantly trying to undermine the rule of law, this is not a good sign to the country moving forward. I wouldn't be president and allow this happen, right? So it is clear. This Lofa, on the most serious note, those 42 or 43 guys, they are on the other side of the law. They are opposite the rear side of the law. They are violating the law of our country, and we should all condemn them. Those guys are a bunch of hooligans because it will treat the petty thieves and the rest of the guys as violating our laws if they violated the law. And the way they violated the law, the Constitution through Article 71, I can't be exact on that, but it says it's treasonable. Treason is the highest crime of the law. That's the highest crime anyone can hit. Between treason and murder, that's the highest crime there. So, I mean, we should stop debating the issue as to who is real, who is not, something else. And the Supreme Court was clear. Lawyers now, sometimes Supreme Court will say those things, say it's meant for lawyers to come and interpret. Lawyers are now interpreting the laws for us. Other lawyers we speak to or try to bring their own position on this thing, they are emphatic, they detail. There's this explanatory detail that's being given us. There's no difficulty in understanding some of those things. We don't have to unpack it again. No, it's clear. So if the government want to persist in doing this in undermining the very rule of law, trust me, there are elements that are ruthless that will begin the process of moving forward, trying to also undermine the rule of law moving forward. Definitely, you're going to start seeing something in our country. People say they'll send me an example from what is happening. But I mean, if that way the country will continue, trust me, you're going to continue this way, and it will expose some things. A lot of development will not happen. This, and if they're not mindful, if they think move into the lawmakers should be taking their break in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And when they take this break, they should be coming back. And I was just talking to my former boss. His concern is that the judge should be taking their break, right, in the next 1 to 2 weeks. His concern is nothing is going to happen between now and January if they were to come January. And he spoke to me, and he's not afraid. He spoke to me as former foreign minister of the country. The danger of the international community withdrawing from us. There's a serious problem here in terms of as well the budget support in other situations. So I mean, they have to put their acts together and see how they can do some things and move on. Because the Liberia Senate is not going to concur with those guys. They will not. They will not. The Liberia Senate will not do it. They're not going to do it. And that's why we're going to have some serious problem in the government.
But Myean, Pewee, Myean, there are folks on the Liberian Senate that are supporting these guys. There are folks on the Liberian Senate that are supporting these guys. So
bulk of the I know this, but bulk of the senators will not support. The folks that are supporting the guys, not plenty. That Prince Moy, the vice president, that the people are supporting your guys. Prince Moy and a few other people. The vice president does not have the latitude to convince other people that he's doing the other side. These are the people that are doing it. Yes, that's it.
And let me re-echo. I know Ben got to come in.
Guys, we just got 12 minutes to go.
Go ahead,
So we got 12 minutes to go. 12 minutes. Ben, since you just come and chime in.
Let Ben chime in.
Raul, finish your talk, and then Ben come in.
I will protect the chairman. Let the chairman chime in. I won't get the chairman to talk.
Finish, Raul. I don't know why Lofa just brought me on quick.
What I was going to say, chairman, is that you know what, Sylvester, I gotta commend you. Now you are speaking the way I know you to be speaking, my brother. You are on the red side. You're on the red side as a neo-progressive. You are on the red
Neo-progressive.
But people, we got five. Substantiate that.
You are on the red side. You're on the red side of history. But I can guarantee you, I will not say much. The Senate will not concur with the announcement that's happening. They will not concur with that. And this is when I'm waiting for them to concur. I'm waiting to see what loudmouth Dylan position on this issue. I'm waiting for that. I don't think they will concur with them, but the Supreme Court, I think, was clear. If the Supreme Court said you don't belong over here where you are sitting is dangerous, it's very clear that you need to remove from there. So I think that ruling was very specific, and those guys have just disregarded that ruling. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't mean to jump in too late. I started following the show a little late. But let me say, and I caught the show when Lofa and Ben, what Ben name again today? Nurse Ben, high blood pressure. Anyway,
high blood pressure.
Yeah, Ben always got different names. But I caught the show and I heard Lofa saying that the Supreme Court. By the way, the ruling came out today, so I will ask Lofa to read the ruling. I have the full ruling. I think everybody should have it. I don't know if you guys have it, which is because what came out, what day did it come out? Last week, right? What came out last week was
last Thursday.
Yes, was the judgment. The ruling is more detailed. The ruling explains the rationale behind the judgment. So I will urge Lofa to read the ruling because the only people who are saying that this thing is vague are people who want to believe that it's vague because the Supreme Court could not have been clearer. When even the issue about we sitting, because I heard Lofa saying something about we sitting, the Supreme Court was talking about. There's only one group that has been purporting to be sitting. There's only one group that has been purporting to be sitting. Every time, because the speaker has not had quorum, the minority have not been sitting. So there's only one group here that has been purported to be sitting. They're the only people who have been going into the joint chambers and saying they're having session. And so they were the ones that the Supreme Court were talking about. Because if you read the headline of the ruling, it clearly says some actions of some members of the national legislature. It doesn't generalize it. So I'm just trying to provide some clarity here because the ruling is as clear as daylight. But because of politics, because we know what is happening, because we understand that this is a whole scheme to get to allow certain things to happen. That's why I thought to do. So I'm glad he's back. There's only one group, Lofa, that has been purporting to be sitting. Nobody else. The COFA group has not had any session, none whatsoever, because they have not been able to meet quorum. So there's been no sitting from the minority. The only group that has been saying that they are sitting is the majority, because according to them, they have met quorum. And that is the reason why in the judgment, the Supreme Court says that any sitting that does not conform.
Sittings and actions, please.
Sitting and actions, thank you very much. That does not conform to the articles of the Constitution is ultra vires. So I don't think there is, and I can tell you what's happening. Right now, there are negotiations going on. Trust me, this is not good. What happened today, you got a lot of people who are making bluster and talking. It made the country look horrible today. It made the government look horrible today. When you have police officers, there are people arguing, oh yeah, the police could have gone there. What the police pretty much did today was to become a party to this problem. When you have police officers beating on sitting lawmakers, cutting off the light, and only time you see police officers escorting functionaries of the executive, they have decided. I saw the Ministry of Finance Facebook page today talking about how they started budget hearings. The executive is clearly now a party in this thing. So I know there are some conversations happening in the background at the level of the presidency because they're trying to figure out a middle ground, right? But I think the continuous message that people keep on putting out there is that this has to stop at some point. And I know I've been speaking with folks from the speaker's camp. He has no intention of resigning, none whatsoever.
Have you spoken to the speaker himself?
His argument remains the same. The speakership that I'm a pa will it to me, but I was duly elected, and there are processes in how you can remove me. If you meet your 49, like Kehleboe Gongloe said today earlier on OKFM, you may not have your 49 right now. Maybe you will get it in 2 weeks. So get your 49, go through the process, and you want to remove him, you should remove him. So I just thought to kind of chime in on that, but I thought it was a fascinating conversation. But but we're in interesting times in our country. And like Pewee said, there are ripple effects that these things can have. When you look around the world, when you look around the region, you see other countries thriving. You see them trying. It's not that they don't have confusion, but people try their best to kind of follow the conform. And I will end on this note with one last thing. I was talking to somebody today, and they brought up Kabina Janet. And I told them, Benjamin Sanvee, publicly chastised the CDC government for the removal of Kabina Janet. But let me tell you the difference, though. It was done in the law. As much as I disagree with CDC, as much as I disagree with with what happened with the removal and the impeachment of Janet, they went through an impeachment. George Weah didn't wake up one morning and say, I don't want Kabina on that bench, and we appoint a new justice. No, that's not what happened. An impeachment bill was raised in the lower house. A trial was held in the Liberian Senate, presided over by the Chief Justice. A conviction was gathered, meaning a majority of the senators who were serving as the jurors voted to convict Kabina Janet on one of the counts and acquitted him on all of the other counts. And because he got convicted on one count, he had to vacate the Supreme Court. So even that process that we disagree with and we criticize, it was done according to law. That is the crux of this matter. This matter is not about Kofa. Kofa Pa didn't will him the speakership. I think what has happened is that people has finally said the time has come for us to do things within the confines of what the law says it should be done. I'll rest for that. Thank you.
Long live the chairman. Long live the chairman.
Guys, we got about four more minutes. I want to give Abu at least one of those minutes, and Sarah, and then I think we'll end on that note for the night, because we should have taken calls, but I think we almost are. The guys have already left studio. We no more.
Take call though.
Huh?
Oh, the studio now.
The studio already gone for the night. So yeah, that's for the night.
So
let me announce again, guys. We still solicit your support.
But what are we doing this Friday for those guys?
We'll do it on Thursday. This Thursday. Please bring anything you got to help our boys. This Thursday, we want to raise some funds for them. We'll do it on Thursday. So let's do Abu Gaya 1 minute, Sarah, and then let's end here.
Yeah, as always, it's good being here. I think we should bring sense to the disco instead of personal aggrandizement. The essence of this show is to inform our people regarding unfoldings across our country. That's by our alignment, we owe it to our country. Abroad as a nation, have witnessed a lot of things, and that is to say, you cannot have everybody occupying ministerial role or an elected position at the same time. So when others are given a chance to lead, I think it's fair to say that you call them whatever respect that is due them. There are folks on this show that refer to our leader in a condescending manner. And I'm going to be very blunt about calling out Ben high blood pressure. At times, sit on the show, refer to the sitting vice president in a manner where I think it should not be. We have people following us, both in radio land and social media. Those should be emulating example instead of doing things does not portray you know, to be good. So it was nice
To call
being
him
here.
coon?
Come again.
To call him coon?
It was nice being here. And to the commenters, if you think that your comments will incite whatever animosity between my sister and myself, you are getting it wrong. It's part of our political diversity. I believe we are one family. Our essence of being here is to, give our opinion on issues. So it was nice being here, and I look forward to meeting all of you tomorrow. Thank you.
Roof, 1 minute.
All right, that was me.
Roof.
Oh, Roof. We got Roof.
Go ahead, Ruth.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
Sarah.
Oh, you're looking at the comment. That's why.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much for having me on, and as always, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm learning. I'm not a politician, but I'm very much learning a lot from you guys, as well as my own input. Abu, I just want to say something. We are not enemies here. The commenters are saying a lot of things. I don't think you should pay attention to the commenters because that's their right to comment on this platform. But at the end of the day, my brother, we are not going to allow you to lie to our audience here because that seems to be what you are doing. And then sometimes the comments that come on, I know it can be condescending to you. It can be condescending to me, to people. Everybody here on this platform, based on what you say, sometimes people have opinions against it, So it doesn't define you. But I want to say to the speaker, hold tight, stand your ground. The law is the law. The Supreme Court has ruled, and the executive is trying to make things worse for you. Hopefully, they're going to fail because at the end of the day, they will get caught up in their own trap. I will yield back the rest of my time to whomever want to say something.
All right, Lofa, 1 minute. Let's close this.
Thank you. It was a great show tonight, at least from my view. But let me just close on this to my little brother. You have to be courageous to defend what you believe in, and follow your conscience. Right, going forward, you are the representation of your political party, and the people you work for here are these commenters. If you were on here the other day, I was literally being dragged because of my position, but I followed my conscience. That's what you should be courageous about. Don't waver because people see things contrary to what you sincerely believe in. Just follow your conscience and be real to yourself, regardless of how people see it. Keep yourself informed and embrace the storm so that you can help other people understand why you are here. And hopefully we can use you as an opportunity to project to the rest of our community and society as a whole to say that this platform is not a platform that is, specific to any political party. We are here and we try to diversify the conversation. So at all time, feel free and disagree with them. But the people that you are responding to, you must be cognizant of the fact that you're not here to engage me or any of the panelists on here. Instead, you're here to work for them. You're working for them. If you disagree with them, don't read the comment and don't engage. And finally, not a single person on this platform's personal life is regulated. So my presence on here as a panelist on the closing argument is one thing. But when I'm on my Lofa Julius page, I am at liberty to say what I want to say and how I want to say it. When I'm on across Africa, where I have reporters, I can say and do what I want to do. But on the closing argument, we try to fine-tune our narrative and keep it friendly to our audience, and that's how we need to do. We cannot restrict anybody how to conduct themselves outside of the platform, but the audience can hold them accountable for their activities outside of the closing argument, and that's where we stand. But it was a great show tonight. Great to be back on here. Hopefully we maintain the level of just being patriotic. Thank you.
Who haven't spoken? Sylvester.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Ben. Yeah.
Yeah. All I can say, the guys. No, all I can say, the guys out there, stand fast. We will send money. All right, we will send money when money needs to be sent. We will send money. So stand fast, fight hard. This is for democracy. We will support
what
you.
What son was spend money? I think I'm saying so many will spend money.
My man. Oh, man, Ellen Johnson said 10,000. You be a president 2 times. You say it's 10,000 too? I'm big here. So guys, you're gonna fight. We will be there with you, and you're fighting for the right reason. But my younger brother Abu, I'm bringing a company to Liberia. I'll make you the managing director. Okay? Thank you.
Let me say this quickly. The law is the law. We should live to respect the Constitution. The reason why we left from look at two and then look at two, or how to call the where we started the war in Butuo. We don't want to start another Butuo in another county or whatsoever, or we don't want to start another Butuo at the capital building. So the law is the law. Respect the law, and then move back to the process. That's why we selected political or electoral contestation via the process of democracy. And the plurality of our people have spoken. And we have to respect the decision coming from those elements and maintain the democracy. The democratization is on course, and we should not allow anyone to tap off it. Abu, I'm trying looking here. I'm not seeing what need you using on Facebook so I can go.
And then Abu Kamara.
Abu S. Kamara.
No, the man in Baga defender.
I don't know if you. I don't know who got
somebody's offended. I'll call you my little brother. If you offended too, I take it back. Okay.
Lofa got a number.
All right, guys. Benjamin, go ahead. 1 minute, Ben. 1 minute, Ben. We gotta go.
Who, me?
Jonah already spoke, right?
Jonah spoke, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm done.
So, guys, I think that's it. What I would say is, what I gotta say, guys, Speaker Kofa.
I'm messing up this now.
Speaker Kofa is not going anywhere. He will stay there. He will remain the speaker. It's time for our do-nothing president who sit there and have never had one press conference in a whole year. Have not even addressed the nation. He won't address the nation when it comes to the State of the Union address. That's all he does. And just going from visiting bereaved people. That's what he's doing now. Everybody that died, he show up there. He go pay.
I thought that meant I had deacon.
So, Speaker Kofa, do not be carried away by our do-nothing president. Stand your ground. Let's see it to the end.
Is he a deacon?
The law is the law. He's still a deacon, but you do nothing.
Deacon in the Baptist church.
You do nothing.
I'm sure why he can be anything high on the man.
He's a do-nothing president. Had no press conference. The new speed now, everybody died. Show already to the house.
Let me play Abu Roy a little bit. Maybe Peabody won the president role as deacon. So he tried to.
Okay.
No, the president I turned to sympathize. Everybody that died to be the first to show.
No, but Peabody.
Gentlemen.
No, Peabody. Before you leave, though, let me ask a quick question. Again, I'm ignorant to this particular topic. The president is a deacon, but I saw that he was actually on. What's the thing? He's a member of the Masons. Is that okay?
No.
That's a sorority. That's
Alpha
Phi. He's not a Mason. No, that's a sorority. Okay.
Yeah.
Alpha Phi.
But isn't he deacon? What's wrong with being big?
You know what, Ben?
Ben.
You know what I think?
I'm just saying, what's wrong with it?
Alpha Phi, Alpha sorority. That sorority in like every president, everything that they just show up there, the singing, they put their hands together.
But they seem to be.
They're the only one. They got other things.
No, they got other
group. I'm gonna carry Omega Sapphire in Liberia. I'm gonna take it there.
No, they got other fraternities. So, but I think they are more organized.
They are more organized. Yeah.
More organized.
I already thought that was the Masons. So that's good.
Now, John the Q, Omega Sapphire.
I've had several invitations from them. Even when I was in Liberia, they have this. Yeah.
You can't have conversation in the back, right?
All right, gentlemen. Thank you. See you tomorrow, guys.
I got a ruling. I'm gonna send you the ruling.
Guys, come early tomorrow,
man.
Send
it to me.
I'll send you the full ruling so you can read it.
I read it.
Early tomorrow, guys.
Abu, which are the page you found on me? Which are the page, Abu?
You read it, 30-something pages? I said
no,
the judgment.
I said the ruling. See you guys.
What you have was the judgment.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, send it to me. Yes, send me what you have. Please. Thank you.
Pewee, how the process is.